And then, sorry, yeah, the Galio probably into the top lane, isn't it? And opens up something else different from mid lane. And the Azir last picks to get... I guess you're a mobile mid laner with some DPS. In that case, like, the Azir's safer than the Victor because you're mobile. Still don't love it. I mean, it's okay. Fine. Strong front line to try and keep you alive. Oh, I forgot to run pre-roll ads. I gotta run ads now. Like, ASAP. A lot of fans, no surprise given that it's IG. The probably the largest fan base currently active within LPL now, because all of the players that they do have. Rookie and Care will be trading shove early. Both these teams former world's winners, FPX and IG. Neither of them have been to an MSI. No, that's not true. IG went in 2019. I'm wrong. Neither of them have won of an MSI. IG got stopped by Team Liquid in 2019. MSI, of course. And that was the year which the West rose up. With both these teams very changed from those years. Shy and Rookie spent many years away from IG, came back for this year. Garlamako Jirjit joining the Super Team Initiative after IG were on financial very much downswing. FPX on the other side, of course last year it felt like they'd come across gold with their roster. They had Shallow who top lane in that roster. They had Milky Way in the jungle. And as you were saying, if you didn't catch what we were talking about before we went into game, there was a live stream between Hacker, the jungler, obviously very veteran jungler, who was jungling for Ultra Climb last year, and Shallow, who was the old top laner FPX. Shallow, who basically saying, yeah, I've been blacklisted by the LPL managers, so I'm not sure I'm going to be back, basically.
Wow, really?
Yes. And he was also talking about how the bot lane, like, they've all gone separate ways, and basically only Care is the one doing well right now because Dog Down Life went back to LCK, and they've kind of struggled. Care was like the only person who's kind of, you know, doing admirably right now. And I do think he has been doing admirably. He's been very, very streaky. As you see the champion stats there, Rookie's is it. Not his most successful champion.
No, he's not. JJ on the Xin Zhao, though, is a little bit more potent, it has to be said.
Rookie getting pushed in the mid lane. Rise, very good early game champion right now on point 11. The level 6 spike for him is kind of insane to increase his combo strength by 60%, not 40% as it was before, which is kind of insane for the early game.
Much so. Shadow. Quite a potential flank angle here. He's on a ward though, so Rookie is quite wisely sitting to the absolute opposite side of his turret. He misses a CS or two here though. Drops two of those three. Slightly frustrating, but we'll get to reset. Good shove though from Care early on, as we were kind of talking about.
JJ was there escorting in as well. Okay, that's rooted. Good chunk consumption. Be anything more than that? Or maybe it will.
Well, the deadly plumage rather running. So also heal out of Mako, who's aware they could have just kept running there and waited for more cooldowns, but it could have gotten a bit dicey.
A good knock up by Dway. Dway, a player which we have all had our eyes on, I think, collectively. I think. Ooh, jumping forwards again. Does get the knock up onto Gala. Roots as well. Good damage. Picking in the Kalista Rakan late into the draft on 4-5 IG. I think, in my mind, I don't think that they considered this to be like a particularly crazy lane. The Kalista Renata is so lane dominant, but losing a couple of trades like that does mean that you lose a bit of presence down lane. They had built up 10 CS lead, and they'll slightly lose that now.
Hope their backs interrupted slightly here as well. It's a bit annoying for them. Again, Mako doing some body blocking there, but Dwayne just being obnoxious as possible.
Surprised that Gala cancelled his recall in the first place at all, actually. Thought that Mako would just be able to body block the first one. Not like you can cancel both of them that easily. Gala goes back, first item boots. And the Assume will come back after his own recall too. He's got a slight freeze on the way to be able to push that out. Now, typically, this is the point in the game where if you're going to swap lanes, you do it now. But it seems like both teams electing for standard lanes.
Which is a little unusual with the Kalista lane. You obviously can go, yeah, I think I'm going to get out of here now. There's boots to deal with. I don't want to deal with this. Goodbye.
And Gallup, that's his 600th game in the LPL. Time flies, doesn't it? I remember when he was coming in... God, when was it? I mean, I remember him winning MSI first time in 2021, of course. This guy's been really exceptional for a long time, actually.
One of our longest standing LPL players at this point. A good split, I think, on the whole. IG often relying on him to be a bit consistent when some of their solo laners are doing silly things, shall we say. Guy, jumped on with a shield bolt here. Still got that shielded around. Let's get interrupted mid-Justice Punch and hit by the Equalizer. That's a bit awkward and ends up, I suspect, going down here. Does get a little bit of time for the Electro Harpoons come on through. But a turret shot's there to make it a 1-for-1.
Yeah, no, the Shy gets one back, and it wasn't the interrupt on the E, he just cast it backwards. So he went, like, into Shadow for the extra CC. Didn't feel like he could get the E angle right to get past him. Would have been death if he'd done so. So the Shy left in a bit of a pickle. Probably could have flashed a little earlier to open up E angles. JJ will start a dragon on the other side.
Should be able to do that one. And that will be secured.
Both top lanes getting the kill out of that team, so not the... And both dying, of course. So it's both basically getting exactly the same value out of this. Shrimcase, thank you so much for the prime. It does make an awful lot of difference to us. Oh yeah, Sam, as I was saying in chat today earlier. We are streaming in 1080 today just to see if it affects viewership, because Twitch has done this really stupid thing where you can't watch in 1440 in various parts of the world, so that might hurt viewership. So hopefully it's fine for you guys, if and when it becomes available again. Pantheon coming into spot, so let's talk about that.
The handshake comes on down. The Realm Warp as well. Care really wanted to come down and join this. That's double globals burned for actually nothing. They just walk out.
Big investment. Really big investment. Both of the global ultimates used for the first time in this game, and IG just walk out of it. Don't even use a summoner.
That's kind of crazy, actually. They don't even have to, like, do it so aggressively. They just kind of casually walk away. Well then. Turret crashes. Wave crashes into the turret. That's probably the correct way to phrase that. As the Shy is around, picking up that wave on the hull. Good for him on the top side to pick up that 1-for-1. It keeps him happily in the race after that gank came on through. Cheer still top side, gets a bit of a chunk there onto God. Doesn't lead to all that much.
First fights of the game, really interested to see how IG choose to approach it, actually, because they have very aggressive snap engage from something like the Kalista, but their engage outside of that does struggle a little bit. They have the Galio to help paper over some of the cracks, though. If they do manage to find something, the Galio can jump forwards as well. Grub started.
Rookie also around, Way on a flank angle here. They've got to get at least one of those grubs are FPX. Cheer also looking for an angle here for the Equalizer. Eyes on him. He tries to zone off the majority of the squad. IG not able to get onto any of those grubs, but now caught in a potentially challenging position as in goes the Rakan with the quickness rolling. JJ with a good crescent guard though means that Shadow is dead. Dway also goes down as Gala pulls out the spears. Rookie sliding forwards, just misses the Emperor's Divide. I see what he was looking for, but couldn't quite get in range. It didn't want to blow.
So IG lose the grubs but win the fight. A bit far there from Shadow and Dway, two players who, rightfully called out in chat earlier, really tend to determine the fate of FPX. If the engaging macro core of jungle support get ahead for FPX, they tend to be the ones which enable the rest of the players fight much, much more cleanly. IG, losing the grubs, will need to make sure that they don't fall prey to double globals, opening up huge cross-map potential now. Because what happens if you double ult a side lane, kill someone, and you go into a bit of a tower race, JJ might have to flash over the wall here if he's in too much danger.
Does have Mako around, but again, does feel the need to flash. I think it would have been a bit risky sticking around, so we'll just get out of there having blown that summoner. Was trying to go for the Scuttle Crab and couldn't quite do it with Shadow also being around.
Go back into a replay of this fight where, you know, the empowered Pantheon would be very hard to do that much against Dre. Jumping into the backline, but there's just not that much follow-up. Equalizer not on a great angle, so no one's CC'd into it, and that means that Gala can pop the ultimate, save the first person picked off in his support, and then just hop back at them.
Mako flashed over the wall, trying to handshake Desire, and was about a pixel short of pulling Assume back as well. That didn't quite happen. Rookie just shy on his Empress Divide as well. A couple of extra kills perhaps go lacking there as a result of slightly misaligned skill shots.
Fritzy in YouTube chat saying, I'm not able to fall asleep unless I listen to these two casts nowadays. That's actually a very big compliment.
I'll take that.
That's kind of what I used to do when I was like half asleep in the morning. Trying to wake up for 9 AM lectures, failing, and then going back to sleep and watching something like LCK instead. So a great many of my favorite casters I've listened to while I'm very much asleep.
Hello and welcome to the LPL ASMR cast.
Well, whereas so that's YouTube chat. YouTube chat, you're playing nicely. Whereas in Twitch chat, oh, have you caught a cold today?
I'm feeling like I might be going towards one. I'm not gonna lie.
Like, no, I just use my voice a lot and I just woke up. What do you want from me? JJ going towards bot side, making sure that the crash is safe. Because this is the kind of point in the game where the double globals could potentially respond, and kind of like dunk on the bot lane as they try and hard push in. Able to save that though, and no trigger was pulled from the other side.
None at all this time around. Rookie gonna attack some minions because he is a dangerous man. Look at him stabbing minions. Stab, stab. I timed that quite well actually.
Not gonna lie, Sam, I was looking elsewhere.
How did you do that?
There are cathedrals everywhere with those with eyes to see them, Sam.
Like Jaden Smith.
It wasn't Jaden Smith, it was actually someone much worse. Really good quote, but Dragon goes down will be the second one of the game for IG.
Realize, Alex.
Yeah.
You know, such as the fact that the Shy possibly should not be here all by himself in this top lane. Care might also be in danger there. Forced to flash.
But actually, this is really good from Gala and Mako because potentially Care could have been looking for that realm walk towards the top side. And I think in a 2v1, the Shy is fine. In a 3v1, maybe he's not. So cancelling out the ability for Care to pull that ultimate, blowing his flash as well. It's a good defense there on the map, the top side.
That he is. Gala, potentially a bit dangerous. That is not the best Grand Starfall I've ever seen. Immediately handshook, hey there, nice to meet you, take my business card. And Pantheon wonders what exactly he's turned up to.
FPX now, what, 0 for 3? They're going for the fight.
Ray will battle down to it, throws down the quickness. That exchange is actually really deep here. I don't know whether he actually had to go all that far. Misses the wind, becomes lightning, and therefore the bailout means nothing. It was a one-play, IG. You really didn't need to do that.
But both junglers just going mad, and now that's opening onto mid lane.
Flash doesn't get Gala over there. Cleanses away. Doesn't survive, but soon flashing on forwards with the deadly plumage. Mako finally gets off a hostile takeover, but it doesn't really lead to all that much. And IG lose another. In fact, Mako might now be in danger, but Soon doesn't quite have enough attack speed to continue to threaten Mako. I
was a little bit worried there that Soon could dive under turret, use the ultimate to go forgo a tower shot, and then get the kill there too. But FPX, first off, it starts with them getting another kind of Duff global. They've used 3 globals in this game now, and it's not gotten value for them. While all this is happening, Rookie has been in a side lane taking those turret plays, so we get some value. But remember, this is just after Shadow got handshook on the tower. Jada decides it's his turn to do something crazy instead. Cow walks over. I guess they don't expect the Rise to be there, maybe. Maybe they thought he would go towards, he would be further towards bot lane, but even then, he has ults. No, he could have done this the first time. He uses it the second time. Just IG on a macro sense, losing track of where people are on the board.
And then they also fell for the oldest jungler trick in the book. You fail one gank and you go, it's fine, I'm leaving. You just sit in the bush for 5 seconds and walk back in again. They left and Care just realm moves right back into mid.
And yes, absolutely well called out there as well. Dre, with his W positioning onto Gala, just saying that, look, you're either moving, you're walking forwards into the team, or you're flashing back and still getting caught. Really well played from Dre, who, as we were saying before, so important to this team. as we move into the next part of the game. First items now being hit. Rookie does have a decent amount of gold. The overall gold lead, not that crazy, because Rookie did get a lot of plates traded for the plays in mid lane. And of course the Shy into double AP solo laners, and then also the Rakan, who's technically into, you know, well, technically kind of magic damage too. The Shy can be a real thorn in the side for FPX.
Very much so. FPX happy enough, honestly, to scale up a little bit more this game. Of course, when you've got the Kalista on the other side, they do want to be off to the races. And yeah, they've not exactly played badly here, but going even with the Xayah. And honestly, the Xayah Rakan laning well into the Kalista Rakan as well. What, they dropped 10 CS if that. That's really not that big a deficit in the grand scheme of things. Assume is perfectly happy. And again, the Xayah is, at least for my money, his most comfortable and successful champion across his career.
Jet once again back into this mid lane. Standoff, side laners pushing in where they can. Ryze pushing in the Galio quite well right now. They both have teleport. Also, laners have teleport. But, some of these side laners have easy ability to cancel than others. The Rumble notably doesn't have a way to cancel a teleport. Really are for investing hard in making sure these mid lanes can push out safely.
Very much so. Heading over instead towards the top lane here. Here is just trying to see whether we can get towards the wave. The ping's going down as the Herald's coming out.
Once IG unlock the minimap feature, it's over for FPX. Are you kidding me?
Ah, Ruby.
That's a good one. Herald now alive. Flash burned by Sheer, but no ultimate now from Rookie. That being said, you know, it doesn't always need that ultimate to have a big fight. The soldiers can often do enough. Teleport towards the bot side. IG really contented to say, look, we're going to get value out of side lanes. You have the grubs, you might have the Herald, but we'll get value in the side lanes first. But the Shy just teleported bot. Now he's walking up to the play anyway, so I'm not sure about that one.
Towards the Herald we go. JJ comes over the wall. Eye is up, and it's Assume with the feathers that ends up securing it. Crescent Guard used it early. Now Assume in danger, goes up into the air himself. He's actually still within the Crescent Guard. The Shy comes flying on him with the Hero's Ember, flash over the wall for Fiona Durand, and gets it onto the Xayah. Hostile takeover. It's excellent. Denies Sheer a lot of value immediately, and that Rumble will die as well. At the very least, Care gets Gala. But it's already a 2-for-1 in favour of IG. Nice pump onto Care. He just get hit by that Justice Punch. Winds of War come flying on out, and that'll be the end of things, I think.
Good combo by Care at the back end there to make sure that he gets Gala. Some extra gold onto the Rise won't go amiss either. And of course, FPX do get the Herald too. So now they have 3 grubs, they have the Herald, and they can break open a tower very easily. In fact, that would be an instant kill onto the mid lane turret. The way that Herald was changed a patch or 2 ago was the first charge from Herald does more damage now, and then any second or third charge after that point does a little bit less. So the initial pick onto Assume, it's a little hard to close it down because they have to invest a lot of flashes into it, but it does end up getting what they came for. It really is just Care on the flank there, getting some good machine gun vibes to even up some of the DPS. But of course, by this point, you know, the damage is already done. The Herald was secured, will be used to break open the turret.
Does that. Dragon just spawned as well. That would be Invictus Gaming looking for Soul if they can get to it, but of course, having just lost priority in mid lane, they are going to be forced to re-enter the river a little less cleanly than they might like. We're on vision here as well as FPX. That mid lane bush, trying to be as obnoxious as possible onto the Dragon.
Rend getting stacked up. And remember, FPX have lost both of our big grouped up fights so far. Can they find a way to get that equalizer to be the real big difference maker?
Yeah, eating a bit of damage. Audacious charge in, gets knocked up by the 3 talent strike, goes down. Important kill. The equalizer is down, but Chase immuning most of it with the Crescent Guard. Already doing as much work as the Shy. Does go down, but it's a lot of space in the front line. Another 3 talent strike gets Sheer in a dangerous position as Gala continues to hop. He's got Bailout running, trying to get the Rend. Will go down if the Bailout gets that kill. Doesn't actually end up going down, as all the while Sheer does get brought low as well. It is Assume alone that survives the fight.
IG find themselves another grouped up fight. Might be losing a little bit in terms of some of the macro that was being played out beforehand, but this time they do get themselves a real whitewash fight. Gala gets to jump forwards. The equalizer doesn't get a big value either. And of course, at the start of the fight, Care getting taken out very quickly meant that FPX were playing scramble defense right from the off, really. Rook will even get himself a bot lane out of turret, and now they start to take off, I think. Starts with, you know, stacking up the Rend onto the Dragon. A really good win becomes Lightning. JJ doing quite well, actually, in these fights to get onto a target first. We got onto Assume in the first player around that Herald. He gets onto Care here around the Dragon. Despite some earlier misplays, he's done quite well in these ones. As Gala used that bailout to really threaten, and that Q over the wall is just as accurate as it needed to be.
Great vision toggle there as well to show that Gala basically did a lot of that blind, landed all his shots. Comes away with a couple kills. The Kalista suddenly right back in it at the spike she needed to be. IG find themselves at Mountain Soul point. When you've got things like a Galio, a Shinzo on the front line. Yeah, not bad. Honestly, even Kalista, right? Especially as she starts to build towards things like Terminus and Jack Show. Very obnoxious if you give her more resists.
Especially when you have the Galio ultimate over the top too. It just all stacks up, doesn't it? It's just everything. Everything makes it really hard to kill, and then, you know,
Galio House of Cards.
Huh?
Just like I was stacking up, I was going for House of Cards, and I think a Galio jumping onto House of Cards, and it amused me. I don't really know that's why my brain worked.
It's Galatro.
Galatro.
Galatro. You know, we were in Thailand at the start of the year, and I was on my Galatro craze back then, and there was just a card hanging from the ceiling. It was kind of like dirtied up in the way that a lucky card was. So like, I was somewhere in the Thai mountains, and I was like, Galatro, lucky card.
It was really, because I think I hadn't played that much Balatro at the time, and I just hear Alex losing it. I'm going, what on earth is happening?
I have a video of it, it's great. Anyway, second items have been hit across the board now. Largely anyway, a couple of less affluent. Well, I'm actually surprised that Shade doesn't have it, weirdly. Guess he might need that for another recall. But okay, IG breaking up in side lane turrets. FPX not really able to do the same. They broke up in the mid lane turret course with the Herald. They do have 3 grubs. If they could cross map, they could claw back some of this gold. But the problem is they bought into too many big fights to allow that gold to get out of hand. And that means that it actually becomes quite hard trying to, you know, take down someone like the Shy or Rookie on a side lane. It becomes a bit harder now. Might try and go towards the side lane. Shadow Dre going towards top side. Haven't seen a big old global play come out of FPX in a while. They kind of failed in the first couple attempts of it. Bit of a problem that they've started giving up on that now.
So, second item's largely in. We have not got all that much to fight over right now, unless someone wants to rush Atakan. But Atakan, as we've kind of been seeing, it's in a really weird spot in terms of the value teams put on it. It is not the, oh my days, we must fight this or be doomed. As Rookie's actually found a pretty good flank angle. There's JJ flashing on him for the crest. Got it, soon got him into the air. And then his Rookie can look for an angle here. Look for the feather pull back, though. In they go with the fate call. Feathers are pulled through. But the hostile takeover is assumed. It's still dragged back into the play. He can cleanse all he wants, but you can't cleanse death. Care now in danger, running away best he can. And Gala with another blind pierce. Won't chase any further. The moment I start musing about Atakan and his value, well, IG will take a free one, won't they?
And FPX, once again, really struggle to play out the group fights. This is a composition which is pretty good at that, when you have your combo into the equalizer. But, you know, the times where the Rumble has been present, they've not got good value out of it. And when he hasn't been there, feels like they haven't had the damage to turn around the fights. Rookie, 4-0 and 5, had that one missed, in a second. I was about to say you had that one Emperor's Divide missed earlier. This time was flashed away from. That one, we'll call it a dodge. That's the flash out of Cap, which is useful. And of course, Gala continually jumping forwards too. It's been very threatening for FPX. They've not really been able to deal with either of these carries in good time in fights.
TPs begin to fly. Dragon in a minute. Soul for IG now on the line. I think Mountain Soul at this point feels like a bit of a death knell. You've got a Bloodletter's Curse. Congratulations. That's the one bit of pen you've managed to build up so far, and that's not going to change all that much in the grand scheme of things right here. Painlace Crush is largely upgraded too as well. The Black Cleaver done for Zhe. Just rattling through the items here, because it is tricky. At least on the whole, you have got second items done for FPX, so it's not the biggest discrepancy ever. But I think this fight is going to be a difficult one, and FPX are going to be obligated to take it.
Care finally gets in towards the side lane. Their first side lane turret taken at 23 minutes, but when you had all 3 grubs, when you got that Herald, felt like you should have been getting dominance on the map in terms of towers taken. IG, on the whole, have been very good at finding fights to stop FPX from really getting value out of the wider map. Dragon is now spawning. FPX are behind a significant amount of gold. They've lost every grouped up fight up until this point, and IG have a soul on the line, so FPX, they'll have to dig deeper to find something they've not been able to achieve so far.
Another Grand Starfall, they've not been all that effective so far. The Equalizer bluntly sucks. Now Care's in danger, running away. GJ is split off though here into the quickness. Will finally throw down the crescent guard, but it's not actually getting that much safety right now as he slowed down. GJ under the turret gets some work done, but they don't keep him alive. Care is traded. The hostile takeover is pretty good, but Mako is taking a lot of damage from it. The Aegis Assault comes on through. In comes the redemption. Where is Galio? Only turning on up, but Rookie and the Shy with a heroic Emperor's Divide brings down the whole squad. Gala Nymaera brought back to life with a bailout, and they brutalize the 5v4.
The 4-man wombo combo of the 2018 World Champions. Rookie in the Shy, Slide, Glide, Emperor's Divide with a heroic twist onto it. They'll get Soul, they'll get the bot lane turret, and IG have been so much better at FPX in the grouped up fights.
I need to see a replay because the Shy just meanders down the river and the Rookie goes, finally, I can put out the bat signal.
We'll get a replay of that, of course, so we'll have to have a look at that again. Of course, we'll take a look. Care initially goes for a play around the flank, but he gets slowed by the Rylise, which has been a much more common item on the Azir. And he gets handshook out of the ultimate at the very last second. He goes down, one of the big pieces of the engage from FPX goes down with it. But, you know, you think, well, 1 for 1. FPX finally gets something. Maybe with their ultimate remaining from Dre, they can, well, not from Dre, but maybe with their last kind of combos, they can get into it. But 4-man wombo combo, Emperor's Divide, heroic entrance, airborne for enough time to get some frequent flyer miles. Really good combo from the solo laners.
That was really nice. Of course, the Shy wasn't there at the start of that fight. He was elsewhere. Wanders on down, and then Rookie puts up a 7k damage team fight. Not bad going at 23 odd minutes in the game. GG will hop on and nab away a Gromp. Shadow now forced to run away. Can he run away far enough as Rookie goes sliding over the wall again? Mako flashing on forward with a loyalty program. Fakes the handshake and allows them to get the kill onto Pantheon. Thing goes Dway as well, but he's then just immediately handshook afterwards and dies as well. IG with another couple picks.
No, and in a matchup between former world champion organizations, FPX and IG, you can see the current state of things for both of them. IG trying to form a new project for themselves, a new super team, bring together all of these members. It's not been an easy time. Last split, they went out quite early into playoffs. This time, they're in the lower bracket early too, and they don't want their story to end here. FPX, they thought that they struck gold last year. They found themselves a roster which very much overperformed, but they couldn't hold on to it. Some drama brewed in that roster between managers and players. They've not really been able to match the highs which IG have now found in this year in terms of gameplay. Soon will blow his Flash. He'll probably die anyway.
Oh, yeah, Flash on forward for the last couple autos. In comes the Grand Starfall, but a hostile takeover afterwards means that Pantheon gives into his own rage, courtesy of a little Zornite experimentation with some recreational narcotics, and they'll bring down the tier 2 and continue to shove on in. There is no wave clear because Assume is dead and Care is not really willing to step on up, and a 5v3 sounds pretty miserable. Fate's Call used to force Sheer and Care away, and the inhibitor falls in short order afterwards.
IG break the base. Hang on a second, Rookie did have the shuffle there, so he could catch that Dre, but Ricardo's quite hard to get a hold of. Good chunk onto him. They're pushing another wave.
Doesn't respond to his calls.
What do you mean by that?
Not hard to get a hold of. Doesn't respond to emails and calls.
Oh, yeah.
He's not a WhatsApp user.
Yeah, he plays hard to get unless he's Zaya, you know.
That's it. He refuses to look at anybody else's social media profiles in case Zaya gets jealous. That's it.
Rakan following 1. Maybe 2 if Zaya has like an alt account. What would Zaya's alt account be for? Wood carving?
It's for ranting at Star Guardian Ari, because obviously you say your boyfriend calls me.
Hey Zaya, your boyfriend called me again. Honestly, the voice line for 2015, they were so good actually. Like that
just low-key dark, that one, like, damn.
Oh no, it wasn't 2015. Was it the second set? It was the second set. It was sort of like 2016, 2017, something like that. It was a good set of voice lines, really. Voice acting performances were good. Anyway, IG will start to try and break up the rest a little more. Dway pulls the ultimate, but not really getting that much value. Garlic cleanses and jumps again.
Problem with the quickness is it looks a little slower. You're playing Formula 2 against a Formula 1 squad right now, and you're going around these corners and you're getting blown apart. No reference to Napoleon, shout out. Cannon still sat there in mid lane, getting some autos off. Boop. Boop. Boop.
I'm very happy for you, Sam.
I'm having fun. Are you having fun, Alex?
I think I'm having fun, Sam.
Why do you think you're having fun? Why are you not
because you've asked me and now I've had to answer. The Shy pushing the spots. Right. Care really doing no damage towards that Galley. The Mountain Soul making it even harder to do so. IG rolling down the base, going from top to mid to bot, getting all the inhibitors and looking to end the game.
Strikes like a talon, 3 of them. She will back away for a second. The shot says absolutely not. 3-man shield. Duran not bad going. Now Shadow in danger. Does Shadow shield vault forward to try and get something after using the Grand Star Ball? Will likely just fall. Another hostile takeover will force Assume to go up into the air. Sheer nearly dead, but does have the advantage of the fountain to work with the Shy. Will tap the W, but Rookie again with a magnificent shuffle. Brings down another 3. Sheer alone in the robot. It's the end of Evangelion. All you're going to do is clap and say congratulations. The Angels win this one. IG come out as game 1.
Yeah, there's an impact as the first Nexus falls. Let's hope. Warm for Mako. That's a good laning phase pick. But it doesn't help to dive. At all, really. Those are your drafts. Did we run out? Yes, we did. KT picked Javik. Nice. I'm happy for them. Happy Pride Month. But yes, it was not a good game for him. Right, let's get into game. Get those Gyos and get into our second game. An errant Lagand, yeah, thrown in there. Any funny business at level 1? No. Not with the Nautilus, not with the Braum. I guess the thing is, the Nautilus does want to hook into a Braum at level 1, but the Braum doesn't have a great way to start a fight unless Salah starts E at level 1 too. Now they're walking in for a bit of a late invade. Does Rookie start E level 1? He does, but misses it. Now suddenly Cat can walk back. Hooks put in. We did say, hey, it's pretty hard to start the fight as the Nautilus into the Braum level 1, but if they leave themselves out of position, that'll definitely help you. Rookie loses the flash and starts E and has no HP now at level 1. Starting the Doran Shield gives him a bit of regen, but he can't farm with Q. Rookie's in a bit of a rough spot.
One way of putting it, I think he's going to be up a particular creek without a particular paddle.
Oh, that sounds like a... Well, without a paddle, you know, if you had a paddle, it sounds like a lovely experience.
It would be a lovely experience. I think the smell might be a bit funny, though.
Oh, that's a shame. Oh, all of this environmentalism would have helped us with saving our waterways. Gala is going to get the passive onto Jue.
A comment about renationalizing water.
I mean, we should, but that wasn't actually what I was saying, but, I mean, yes. Old water company is accountable, by the way, and industrial waste.
There you have it. As Rookie eats a lot of damage. Ow, 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 ow. But again, he's doing his alright to at least get to level 2. The problem is, Kare's still got half a mana bar to work with, and Rookie has to be a little wary here. Things like...
He'll be teleporting now. No, he's teleporting back now. He just needed enough gold to like actually have something worth backing for. So Kare realizes he can't like go on the turret without he can't stop the back without going on the turret. So Rookie will come back with like a refill or a Dark Seal or something like that, regen on his HP. And yes, it sucks losing that teleport early, but you need to get it back in as soon as possible to kind of like normalize what should be a more even matchup in mid lane.
Slightly frustrating win rates there for FPX, but I do think a few of them kind of lie to how good some of the players are on them. Jue has pulled off some absolutely incredible Nautilus games. We had a whole highlight reel of 30 seconds of him in one play where he got an MVP not so long ago, where he just buffeted through absolutely everything with Nautilus hooks and Shadow. Reminder, 17 kills versus JDG. Long ago on that in theory, so able to do some good work on it as Assume. Senna as well, doing his best to follow up on Jue there. Looking to see whether someone will be over eager stepping up then.
Yeah, he forced the E out of Garlop. That's who he was aiming for. Shadow on the bot side taking that scuttle. And Ray just hanging out in this brush. Lands a hook this time. He's got more HP to work with. Gets that slow. Doesn't get the passive back onto him. Just doing his job of just slowly whittling down the Braum.
Plan. All of those pots are now gone. I'll note that Assume and Jue both have a health pot, of course, but having the Senna in your lanes means with the piercing darkness you can find healing. somewhere out there, Sora, with a giant keyblade, was going, no, light was always the better answer. Wait, we've got marital dispute in the bot lane.
Yes, we do, Sam. Yes, we do.
I just missed that. I hadn't quite clocked on that.
Yeah, it's like, oh, there's love the half of her which isn't dead. That's actually one of his voice lines, by the way. He's basically Lucian. Hang on a second, he will get tanked up by that W. Yeah, that's actually a voice line.
Fabulous.
He desperately needs marital counseling. By the way, I thought my wife was dead. Turns out she's not. She's only half dead. JJ gonna get contested on the Gromp now. Shadow has smites.
Gromp, I believe, just got nabbed away by Shadow. Then they get the hook back onto JJ, trying to buy some tires. Mako does have the flash, maybe forced to burn it, does now, and it's too late because the bleed brings down the Braum. He's dead to rights.
The red buff and the bleed stack up for some good damage over time. Shadow not going to stick around. Flash traded for flash as JJ gets out safe.
Way was hunting for that one, and a nice angle will get the additional flash. Good work from him. More camp stolen away as well from this Vi. And Shadow suddenly finds himself in a very healthy position on this Neferi.
Getting a Neferi an early kill is one thing. Getting a Neferi early kills and then also the early invade as well, that is very, very bad news for Invictus Gaming. In fact, I think Shadow also just... you can't technically counter jungle anymore, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, as you can see there on the map, on the mini-map, it was... basically, you can delay the respawn timer a little bit by not killing one of the little ones, but it doesn't just stay alive. Yeah.
Facing Darkness comes on 3.
Sorry, I just had a notification coming up.
Yeah.
Where it's like, wow, top clip. Hang on, Gala might get flashed onto you here.
Top stunner in the form of Dway going across, getting some staggering blows down. The wave still crashes, and assumes going to try and pick up as many of these as he can.
Yeah, no, it's the clips leaderboard. So if you're, by the way, folks, if there's, probably one of the best ways to help us out as a stream is to clip and post those clips in places, because that actually gives marketing for us. Because turns out when you're streaming 150 hours a month, it's quite hard to spare time to also do your own marketing too. But it just had a notification come up saying that Nymaera is the new leader of the clip leaderboard. I'm like, what? It's like with 5 views. Oh, okay. Right, that's a thing which has happened, I guess.
The shine. Throws out some needles.
Well, the sheer does that instead.
That's the one. I apologize. I got my players the wrong way around, but Shadow begins to pursue like a hound. And Elvis Presley had it right. Ain't nothing like a hound dog. Finding some damage down as JJ in danger. Needs to potentially get over the wall here with the Vault Breaker. Thinking about going back on in. Mako and Rookie doing their very best to find some work. As Gala also comes to the wall. Assumes survives though. Gets the Triumph feeling. Care just about surviving. Gets the double shove. IG finally get one back as Rookie's doing his best. Might get to the side of Shadow. Now they're going to try and play this one out this way. Getting some staggering blows down. Aftershock's timed out. Looking for some more auto. But there's another dredge line. Gets into the back line though. Does Rookie. And somehow, some way, they get everyone. It's an ace!
Assume respawns to stop the notification coming out. But yeah, that's a full 5 kills. The whole team of FPX die across the map as the Shy gets a solo kill. But IG get the cleanup play in the bottom jungle. Gala and Rookie's mobility in that jungle fight massively causing FPX issues. They just couldn't close them down. The Braum passives, the extra ease coming in from Gala. You know, initially you think, okay, level 6 on the jungle first. This has got to be a one fight for FPX. You know, having the ability to get that extra bit of damage down, a little bit of extra chase, the double shove. Surely that should have been game over at that point, but it wasn't quite as easy as that because you see how Rookie and Gala managed to just open up different angles on the fight. JJ does go down for this, but you just look at the 2 carries of Rookie and Gala. They're just managing to split damage so well and continually getting that extra follow-up.
And Gala and Rookie at the end of this do so much work. Care wants to get involved, can't quite. And then Dway thinks he's got enough HP bar, but Gala's still got the barrier. And then because Rookie gets onto Care, looking for that last threaded volley, he's not hitting Rookie. And that means they can both back each other up as the Shy does this.
We are getting so much extra clips out here. So he even misses the Q. How does he get the kill without that Q? Sheer running out of mana. Has the E still. I guess the passive from Aurora getting the extra move speed and the healing over time being the difference here. Just manages to get... I think Sheer just massively underestimates Aurora passive. Go back into live with a long replay. Gala's going to die as we come out of it.
Eats a Dawning Shadow, and Lucian realizes the greatest good in his life is his wife as he puts him in his place there. Double kill for the side of FPX. Shadow gets one. Santa gets the other. The bot lane dead from IG.
Shy now left alone on top side. Has ultimate if he wants to throw it down to clear the wave. I think he needs to ult early. He does need to be careful. Yeah, he throws that ult out.
Can he get anywhere, though, with the Between Worlds? Can't really get across to the wall in time. The CC too long. So clears the wave, but dies regardless. It gives some kills back for FPX.
Yeah, good hook from Dwayne. Shy casts his ultimate through the hook animation. Still obviously gets CC'd up, but gets some damage down onto the wave. Rookie now here stealing the center ultimate, has that global. Of course, we'll see if he gets value out of something like that later on. Never really thought of center ultimate being that big for Silas, but it's a global. And global does it will. Grub's now start up for FPX.
You'll see some value in terms of backing up a Vi or a Lucian as they go in if you're not there at the time.
Yeah, that's the value of a global. Globals for Silas always have some value. You get to steal something like a Carthus ult and feel a little better about it, of course. So, gold lead, even. There isn't really a lead there now. Dragon is available. It was 1 grub to 2, so no one getting mites in this game. The 3 grub buff. Dragon stuff.
Well, look what happens here in the replay. He missed something out here. His care. He was looking out for something. He managed to leave the lane in bot sides.
Yeah, he just pushed and roamed, I guess. Shadow. So this is how they got caught out in the first place, right? So Dre just landing hooks, bluntly, gets passive onto both of them. The Fury ult's back up. You can't body block like that, like you used to be able to for your teammates. You see him running up as well, and FPX is bringing people quick to the plate.
Very much work. Got some good value. The Senna is in a happy position at this point. There was a graph that LEC did about the amount of souls at the minute with this version of Senna, on average at 20 minutes. I think you're looking at hopefully about 60 if you can make it there. What we've seen so far. So far, we've not a bad spot. 35 odd and a couple of kills.
Yeah, no, especially since it tends to go up, the more you can move around the map and kind of collect souls from off the ground and stuff. You do need to sometimes get involved with your jungle play like that. 2 real ways that you get a lot of souls, really, as farming center. It's either kind of, following around someone else that's farming for a little bit in jungle, or of course double tapping champions in your lane. So if you're fighting a lot, it does get you more souls.
Very much so. Assume. Does finally complete that auto. I saw him missing that soul for a second or two.
Sam, it wasn't going to be the end of the world.
I know, but I was going to join. It would be a -1 moment, Alex.
But Sam, they stay on the ground for like 15, 20 seconds. It's fine. Yes, it is.
-1.
You can cancel it like 4 times if you want to do. The Shy going to escape out of that combo and wave clear as best he can.
Gets stunned up by the weirding, pushing him back across the unravel there. There's a real follow-up there, so just managed to clear the wave out okay. Is going towards what looks to be a rower build here on the Aurora 2, so a more burn-style build, a bit more of a cycling build, trying to get through some of those autos and passives rather than just straight-up burst with things like the Loop Shadow Flame. I've seen occasionally on the Aurora 2.
Yeah, I think particularly in top lane matchups, you just need to be more self-sufficient. Gank squad appearing around mid lane. They're on a ward, so Gala's hanging out to the right side of the lane to escape that. Keep hop, I assume, to make sure the follow-up auto doesn't come through.
Also the Black Mist, I believe, is the name of that one. No pearls to be found. Best start believing in ghost stories.
You're in one.
2.5 minutes or so until the next dragon. It's just a bit of a holding pattern for now. First 3 kills went the way of FPX. They got that mark towards the feats of strength, turrets, and objectives still to play.
Yeah, Jeja's spotted on a ward heading up here, so FPX do have advanced notice that Jeja's coming up here.
Shadow's around, so is Mako. Could be a 3v2 under the turret. Needles now coming on down. JJ gets inside the Hallow Mist. The Dawning Shadow comes on through. JJ now very deep. Goes down. They have gone way too far. Call of the Pack comes on through alongside the Hound's Pursuit. And Rookie goes on down as well. Too far from Invictus Gaming.
How many kills did you say Shadow had in that game? 17. Well, he's at 5 right now, and it's only 13 minutes in. That's a 2,000 gold lead on the Neferi. Shadow might be doing it again. He might be doing it again. FPX, if they can make this game about the Neferi cleanup, shredding someone at the start of the fight, FPX have a win condition now.
They very much do, and I kind of blanked on how much gold that Neferi had gotten, and 2k gold lead at 13 minutes is pretty monumental. That is the gold lead for FPX right now.
Good place to have it. Some champions, you don't care for gold leads as much. Neferi, when she's ahead of the game, completely changes the playstyle of the champion. You get to jump in a lot more brazenly. You tend to get a lot of HP with your first items too. Survivability is what has made Neferi not just an okay assassin, but Jeja, my dude, that's a bad blast cone.
Calls the Pack, make sure he has a lot more doggos to go around. It's the Talia that gets that kill, but another pickup as Jeja is kind of looking a bit lost here.
I think last split, in split 1 of LPL, I thought Jeja was kind of the rock that was holding this together. He was the consistent one. The longer we've gone into this split, a couple of months later, the more I think that JJ has joined into the clownery as well. This guy has been one of the most inconsistent members for the side of IG. He's really struggled to put together good performances back to back. You know, last game I thought on the Shinzo started off a little bit awkward, but at least he ended up strong on it. This time you're down 0-2, 2,000 gold behind in a matchup where you have to dive into melee. JJ has given a win condition over to FPX.
Yeah, I remember chatting in the break a little bit saying, look, I feel like at the very least JJ has been very clutch for IG at points, but he has been a bit up and down. I think that is a fair descriptor, right? Like, we've seen fantastic things from JJ. I don't want to say that he hasn't had highs, but it does feel like they have had a bit more up and down performances in general. Honestly, it feels like Gala's kind of taken over his role as the person who you could rely on to at least be solid. EP's come top side, Herald in 20 seconds, clearly wanting to play around this top side of the map. Rookie also now resetting for that TP. A little deep. Joy needs to be a bit wary here, actually. About to get jumped onto. The abduction comes on through. Stolen depth charge is overcome sheer, throwing out some needles. Acupuncture session looks pretty brutal as the dogs come to play as well. Who let them slip? Out there, they cry havoc, and Shadow is certainly looking like a hound of war right now, though you turn it around as Gala's turn up just begins to auto down everyone. A triple kill to JJ, the man we were criticizing.
No, so halfway through that fight, I think, oh yeah, FPX, they're definitely going to win this. Rookie's gone down early. IG clean up, despite the fact that their AD carry wasn't there at the start of the fight. Shadow gives a shutdown over, and IG win the grouped up fight and will win the Herald.
Care wasn't there as part of it as well. It becomes a sort of 5v4 in the end, because everyone else from IG does turn.
Very surprised at that, because, you know, it is level 11 Talia, who's now threatening Gala, actually. Gala needs to be a little scared here. Does have the flash in the barrier, though, so should be safe from death, just whether he lost these summoners.
They spotted Care's ult cooldown coming up now. That's when it came up, so it wasn't available in that last play. Gala's very low, gets the barrier flash, Care gets it. JJ was around, I think they were trying to bait it, and it all goes wrong.
Gala overstays, and you were saying this guy was the consistent one, couple of flickbacks now. Care trying to pick up some pieces for his team.
See what Gala was doing, had the barrier, was trying to bait Care to overstep with JJ and Mako roaming on in, and overplays his hand a little. Means that FPX can suddenly settle into this mid lane, maybe look for this turret. Dragon's just spawned, and you're down your AD carry.
You up. Care does have his ultimate. Ultimate's coming back up for FPX besides the longer Dawning Shadow cooldown. Dragon will be taken by FPX. I don't think there'll be a contested this.
It will not worth noting. FPX do in fact have the feat strength as well, having claimed the bot side turret already, so they are now with those upgraded boots. Have a look at the replay top side, because I thought Joy had gone a little deep here.
Well, initially it seemed from the way that we were talking about it, we were saying that actually it's IG going to
yes.
Because IG, I mean, Rookie hadn't got a reset, he hadn't spent his gold, he had no mana, the center ult comes through the play, but the more you look at this, the more you realize actually JJ has managed to get onto the backline, and Shadow hasn't actually been able to explode the amount of people that he'd like to, and of course at the end of it, Gala's the one to turn up. The Braum gets value in the extended fight with Passes too, and a triple kill to JJ means that while we were, you know, bemoaning the state of the jungle matchup, it's now much more playable.
Very much so. And Shadow picks off Rookie, and that's all and good. The problem is the rest of his team dies, which is a bit problematic. Dragon was picked up by FPX, worth noting.
I think actually looking back to that last fight, I wonder whether FPX were thinking, well, trusting in the fact that Rookie would reset, because you know, the Shy had teleported into his lane, thinking, oh, I'll pick over that lane, I'll take over it.
Too, yeah.
So you can spend gold and come back in with full mana and HP and items and stuff. So maybe they thought they could bring up Care later. Maybe that's the reason why Care wasn't at that fight, actually. Going to play on the instincts of your enemy team, play off the playbook a little bit.
Didn't quite work out there. It does give IG a breathing room back into the game, gets JJ back on an even keel. Actually makes him hit the richest member of Aventus Gaming right now, which is kind of crazy, but there we go. A lot of shutdowns going the way of the fight. We'll be building towards a Black Cleaver as fast as she can.
Once you start hitting that item, well, I think actually, there's no, I mean, you do get some extra value towards the Lucian, of course, so you get to shred some armor for him. It's just a nice item for Vi in general, that Black Cleaver, because you stack it really well. Your Denting Blow, it's getting some value too. You might go for a big old gank onto Sheer here. Does have Flash and Needlework, so it's a little hard to block him down. Shadow on the top side as well, so you don't really want to be tangling with that Neferi, unless you've got a good plan to shut her down.
Mesh just comes on down there. This comes the Weaver for Shirche, also around, teleporting in the plan. Now Shirche is going to reveal himself, but it might be too little too late as the Shy flashes, goes between worlds, tries to escape. Decent job of a flash for the Hound's pursuit. Brings down the Aurora. Caught under the turret, but can eviscerate away, and Shadow happy enough with that one as Rookie. Going to clear the wave best he can as the rest of IG come on up.
Greedy from the Shy. You can't hop through the minefield. You have to flash early. Chooses not to. Shadow manages to flash to get in range for the ultimate too as the Shy dips back into the play. Misjudging the play a little bit there as the Shy.
Rookie does get out, clears the wave behind them, so they can't shove too far. But all the while, the turret still falls. Happy enough, a 7th kill for this Nymaera.
That's the thing, though. It's like, yeah, you clear the wave, but realistically, they were going to push the tower. They get the tower they came for anyway.
They very much do. We can look back towards things like the dragon that will be spawning in a couple minutes, and that gets interesting again because some of those items are starting to come on through. Eyes on Assume as well, who's well over that 60 soul mark, coming up towards the 20-minute break point we've been asking for. So second item complete there as well. The scaling for FPX is also pretty potent with the Gwen and the Senna.
Shadow, Dre walking into the brush here. Rookie has the Nautilus ult.
All the pack, Nautilus ult comes on through, does get depth charge, needs to potentially back away, drags him over the wall though, and again needs care to start to help out a little bit. JJ gets over the wall though, but he's into where Sheer was. Hound's Pursuit allows Side of Shadow to keep hunting Mako. Got the dogs on top of him. Hound's Pursuit again. Another kill to the dogs. Shy goes down. Makes it the triple. How far can he go? Gala bleeding out. So much of his race with the Dark Daggers. The barrier comes on down. He goes down. He's got the Quadra. Where is Rookie? He wants the full 5.
He won't be able to get it. FPX will still walk away with 4 kills onto the dog, though. 17 kills was his record versus NIP earlier this year. He's at 11 in 20 minutes now. He has a kill every 2 minutes in this game. Shadow showing up on the Nymaera and giving FPX hope for the series.
Damage comes on through. I'll pick up the Attican. Everything looks pretty good. Have a look at the replay, because they get dragged a long way too far.
So, Rookie baits out the Nymaera W, forces it out with that E. But the follow-up after the Nautilus ult is just not there. The blast gun comes through, and sadly, Judges is catapulted in towards Care, and it opens up the resets after that point. You haven't cleanly shut down the Nymaera. The Nymaera has a bunch of HP and gets to run back at you. This is one of the issues with the Nymaera. She's so safe as an assassin with a bunch of damage to bring at you that if you don't get a very good angle, she slips the noose and she runs back at you.
And it feels like if she hits at least one of those daggers, the ability to just have the damage continually ticking, even if she's not in melee range of you, is still very obnoxious.
Now, IG have just had the difficulty modifier increased again. Death's Dance in towards Shadow. So even if you get a good burst combo into the Nymaera, there is a chance with the delayed damage, which the Death Dance gives you, applying it as a bleed over time rather than instantly giving you that damage, that she can heal with a Q, she can get out of the initial combo and run it back at you in the same kind of way, not to mention the extra defensive and attack damage stats tacked onto it. Dragon now started from FPX, and IG, I think they bottled it in this game. They've given way too much gold over to Shadow's Nymaera, a player who came in midway through this season for FPX. It was meant to be Sorrow playing jungle. Shadow, of course, an EU alumni, over from the LEC, used to play over on Mad Lions, and has a lot of goodwill from us over here in Europe. Actually, has come in, and people didn't expect that much for him, but he was at least going to be a leader, and maybe that'll pull things together. It's more than done that. FPX have massively leveled up with him in the jungle helm.
They really have, and that puts us into a interesting position here, I think, now for IG, because they won game 1 very handily. This one is looking pretty doomed, all things said and done. This Nymaera is nearly unkillable, and we're not really talking about the fact that Gwen is getting quite strong at this point. The Senna, as we've noted, continuing to just pick up souls, pick up damage, pick up items. It isn't getting easier either with the game going. It's like, oh, we can way out the Nymaera. We've got our own scaling options. Like, you asked to spike for mid-game with this comp. You've gone for the Lucian. You've gone for the Silas. You want to be brawling at this point. And how are you going to do that right now?
With difficulty, Sam. With difficulty. So, 4 minutes until next dragon. A little while for IG to try and recoup something across the map. I think IG must, sadly much like the last play, look for those quick picks. I don't think if it comes to a 5v5 now, you cleanly win. I think it's too hard to shut down the Nymaera if the Sen and Nautilus are giving heals, shields, and disruption in terms of CC towards the divers trying to kill off Shadow. IG need to find a way to pick off 1 or 2 people, take a numbers advantage afterwards, and see if you can get yourself an objective or a tower or something like that.
Nice, gets a weirding cross off onto Care.
Good damage.
And will be actually a pretty good spot here. He's got the 2 items complete. The Shy, the only person on the squad to have a lead right now individually, up 700 gold, and good for him.
Yeah, he can do quite well in individual lane. He can't necessarily do as much in the 1v3. He's on weak side. We're going to have a cross map. This play here. On the other side, the Shy might get done.
Flash for the abduct. Sheer going to get shielded by the Dawning Shadow. Rookie now low as Sheer trying to buy some time, waiting for the Kingslayer option. And Rookie gets to hop on into the Petricide Burst, helps set that one up, but that means weak side. In they go with the Hound's pursuit. The Shy desperately trying to stay alive. The exhaust was good actually onto Shadow to prevent the kill. Well, now need to back away from this turret as Jway also left very, very low.
Yeah, the Braum passive and Spellbook, just to say, like, where did that heal come from? The Spellbook and the Braum passive saving things. So IG do get a kill on one side. They'll get mid lane turret, opens up bot side. And we did say, hey, IG, you need to find a split player across the map. Try and find a kill where you can. They do that, and they get a tower. So that is exactly how IG should play the game from this point.
Work from them. But at least find something back. Helps bring the goal back a little bit. They forced a lot of the wave down bot side to disappear. And the Shy survives. Didn't have to burn his flash, worth noting. But then again, so did Jway, and that can also be pretty valuable considering how aggressive Jway has been on the Nautilus so far. There's that replay in the picture-in-picture. So
it was once again the ult going forwards from the the Aurora to get some wave clear down. Of course, Aurora doesn't feel great about that kind of situation. The Shy using that W backwards does not see the Talir out of the brush. Not flick back though. Here comes Shadow.
The Hound's Pursuit comes across. The Shy gonna throw out as much damage as he can with a twofold hex, just out of range of something.
Oh, it's so close!
He doesn't quite bleed out and survives the dive.
The stand behind me from Braum applying some extra resist. Maybe that's what ended up helping just at the very end. Lucky to get out of that one alive. There was no Guardian, of course, on the Braum, which often saves you in situations like that.
The attempt on his life left him badly scarred, but he has never been stronger. Emperor in the top lane doing some work here. Really throwing out Force Lightning. Doing his very best regardless. The Shy hops across the Veil. Looking for a potential angle here regardless. They do try to defend this tier 2. It's so damn low. I think it should just fall now. Jway goes into melee range. Throws out the depth charge. Dawning Shadow comes across. Gala chucked out a little bite. The Weave's all now coming on down.
Okay.
Potential of Share. Care does get the shove back. JJ now in danger as Rookie finally turns back on up, but they've killed off the jungler. Important moment. Share now coming on up as well. And IG can't punish Care's very aggressive Weavers.
I was very surprised that Care wasn't punished, but I guess the cooldowns just weren't there, and FPX are able to force a big clump. That's where they're winning. They get the value once everyone's on the same screen. IG, they can make plays, I think, with the Silas and the Vi in a side lane. But in plays like that, it's much harder for them to stand their ground and find the same success that they have in the split map. We once again return to that jungle matchup. Shadow on 12 kills on the Neferi, almost 4,000 gold ahead individually. Jeja has bounced between great and awful plays in this game. Shadow on the other side has just been this looming dagger in the dark, which IG have either had to avoid or try and shut down. It's not exactly looking like a set of great options for them with regards to that. The later this game goes on, Dragon now spawning would be third Dragon for FPX.
Be the idea. 10 seconds on that spawn. FPX in position in the river. Care looking for potential flick back on someone. Zoom Jway also now roaming on over. G feel like they want to play this. Rookie on a good flank angle here. He's got the stolen depth charge. Can look to get on top of someone valuable here. Rookie finds his moment and Jway goes down, but it's a 1-for-1 as the jungler dies. Rookie goes golden, doesn't have any hijacks available. The Shy looking for an angle himself. Begins to rocket belt away, but in comes the Hound's Pursuit and blows up Rookie. The Shy goes between worlds, but I think he's only going to one. And it looks like the pearly gates are waiting. Bunny Rabbit down, a triple kill to Shadow. 2 members remaining. He didn't get the penta earlier. He wants to get one now. Does go flashing forward to try and find it. And realize maybe just feeling a little too much.
Missed the second Q after the flash, which is why he calls off the play. The amount of damage coming through from that could have actually secured an extra combo for the kill. IG, once again, cannot deal with the Neferi. 15 kills now. The mark quickly approaching that record 17 he said earlier. Dragon claimed by FPX and IG. Why oh why did he give Shadow the Neferi?
He's had a few losses on it in recent weeks, don't get me wrong, but we can see what FPX look like when Shadow is on a roll. It's a very different looking team all of a sudden.
And this is exactly what happens with FPX. Do you get that jungle roll ahead? He's the tip of the spear, he's the leader of the team, and Shadow has done such a magnificent job of making what has been very much a mid-table team for the last however many years of FPX into one which can occasionally be that banana peel, can occasionally punch up. These players do have a good upper ceiling, even if they sometimes struggle to reach it.
It's worth noting that this guy's got such a ridiculous story, right? Like, started off in the Italian scene, he's Italian-Chinese by birth, but it's partly why he's actually an import, effectively, into the LPL, because he had EU citizenship, effectively. was on Mad Lions, where he was up and down, had some really great moments, but was a little volatile, as we've seen from him. And now, finally finding a home in the LPL, looking to really do some work here for FPX, replacing Sora.
Walking forwards there, I was wondering whether a fight was going to happen after we were giving you that story time. Important note in chat as well. So while the Neferi record for Shadow is, and for this split as well, is 17 kills, is the most player kills that any single player has gotten. The record number of kills in a single game happened while I was casting it last year, actually. It was Knight versus FPX last year, who got 21 kills. I believe that was on a Lucian mid-game. So we'll see whether Shadow, somehow, you'd need to get another 6 kills to get towards that point, but hey, with the way this game's going, it's actually doable as they take the Baron.
Goes down the hallowed mist and snips away the wave. Rookie doing his very best to be obnoxious. It does feel like the few windows IG have had in this game have often been out of Rookie and JJ, finding picks on Sheer in particular. You get the reset off to manage to shove that wave largely in. Rookie finds himself a third item. The Zonya's now completed. You've got 3 items on Gala. There's some tools to work with. I'm just looking at the scaling again. That's over 100 souls now on Senna and 3.5 items. It's looking a little scary here. I'm not going to lie to you, Al.
I think scary is a very mild word for this level of craziness, actually. IG, yeah, they are really running out of options. Really running out of options. 4 items for the Neferi is absolutely insane.
Just look at the gold lead individually. 5.4k individual lead.
That is an item and a half up. Flash forwards.
Get charge beyond to Gala, who's forced to back away, can't get involved with the fight. And it's the Senna who picks that kill up. Inhibitor now going down. Look to potentially end the game, never mind kill records. They want the game, and I don't blame them. Rookie nabs a death charge, looking to potentially punish here on the side. Charge up the Vault Breaker. The culling comes on in and does next to nothing at this point of the game. Way able to tank it up with the Titan's Wrath and a Locket Shield.
Oh, the recall came in.
Zoom is in so much danger and goes down. They stayed too long.
Well, no, it wasn't about staying too long. It was leaving too disparately. Assume didn't realize the recall had come through. Rookie will get die on the Nexus, but Care came back to teleport back in. Assume didn't get the memo, and the kills come through.
We'll pick up Rookie at the very least. Gala needs to back away. Shadow doing his best to stay alive with that call of the pack. They get another. Cheer picks up the double. Runs away. We'll have to do punishment for Assume going down.
Yeah, but the important note about that last play was not the quote-unquote overstay from FPX. Care had recall to get a teleport back in, but before he could click that teleport button, JJ found an engage angle onto him, so it was Assume just not realizing that his teammates were going back to teleport back in. Why would you stay that close to the enemy Nexus?
Problematic, gets picked off. It's going to change all that much, I think, in the grand scheme of things, but the game doesn't end, which is important. Look at the replay here, as we'll get exactly that as Assume is just way too far.
Well, look at this. There is literally a recall happening on screen, and the 2 other members go across the wall. Like, they want to keep pushing the base, but he even steps forward there. Assume, my dude, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's just not great. And they try to find some more, but Rookie does go down here. Can't quite buy enough time. The Hound's pursuit was channeled, so with the needles, and Shearer is the one that picks up the kill.
So sadly, Shadow doesn't pick up the kills there to increase his own individual kill count, which we are keeping very close eye on right now. Still at the 15 mark. Still needs 6 to match Knight's record from last year of the most kills in a single LPL game ever. And of course 22 or above to beat it.
Got another BF sword in inventory. Not sure that's going towards something like
It'll be a GA. It'll be a GA.
Bloodthirst would kind of be hilarious too.
I think when you go, well, you don't auto attack enough to get much value out of it. So it'll be the GA. Which is annoying as heck to kill the... the Shy!
Dawning Shadow comes on through, forced to flash. Needles also fly forward as Gala was hit by the Dark-in daggers. So he's left bleeding away a little bit there. Inhibitor now under siege, goes down in short order. Assume at this point his autos begin to hurt quite a lot here. 10 seconds on Dragon. Ocean Soul, when you've got a center on your team, yeah, not a fan.
Yeah, Assume almost at the 120 soul mark, which for some reason people are saying is a massive breakpoint. It's just another range increase. There's a lot of extra damage. Maker Court doesn't. He uses the cleanse from the spellbook.
Comes the Hound's Pursuit, and there's Shadow getting a 16. Looking for some more. We'll use the call of the pack to buy some time. Rookie goes golden, but there's the Hound's Pursuit again. Gala's so split off. Can you run away? No, you can't. Eviscerates for another. Care running away. Rookie's in danger. Pick up at least 2 more. 17. He matches his record as Sheer. Hunting for the Shy. But it will not be anything that Invictus Gaming can do to keep themselves in this game. The Nexus turrets are falling. Who let the dogs out? FPX cry, and IG just go boo, 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 boo.
The kill record will not be matched today. Shadow will get 17 kills on the Neferi to match his record on the...
Yeah. You're one of the Wukong. Teamfight Ultimate's a bit more... On to the Rift we head for our third game of the day. Let's listen to the Gios. Ooh. Someone's fumbling with the music in the background. I hear you, audio guy. Oops. Dway, level 1 pulverize. See after down. Maker throws down the hammer shot. Was worth only as the poppy support. Now coming on over as Rookie will use the Foxfire to speed up and get out to safety. Bit of a chunk there onto Shadow, who cries a bit about his life. We shouldn't lead to all that much. It's going to be a bit late starting here as the Shy gets to walk on over. He can really mess with Shadow now. Oh no. That could be problematic. Not going to lead to all that much though. It delays the start of this clear significantly. Wukong is going to be well ahead in terms of the early start to the game. Well ahead indeed. FPX doing their best to get some value here. As Rookie had a bit of a weird old time on the Ari. We normally say he's fantastic at this champion, particularly if you can find those pockets of vision to pounce out of, but not had the easiest time this split. Shy eating a big chunk there from Sheer. Being very annoying about that one for sure. Big chunk onto Care, who has to flash away as Rookie also goes looking. Bad going there is Care. That one away a bit. Chunk about to come on down. Missed that one. Awkward. Still, Sheer having a much better time this lane. Did have a bit of an awkward time early on the Gwen last time around. Came back into it, but was probably the person with the most... Maker, I think we will wander up the river here. Might be looking for a bit of an attack here onto Shi, who has shoved pretty hard for this. Gala also, of course, having gone into this lane swap to get out of things and save the Shy a little bit as well. Put Shi into a potentially tricky spot. Hit by the hammer shock and the heroic charge, but gets to walk away. Nothing else required. Gets out to safety. Not too much more to write about so far. Not seen too much in the way of ganks outside those early flashes mid, obviously. Soon gets a chunk on down. As Rookie gets a bit of a chunk across here, doing his best to be valuable. To the skies goes Sheer. Maybe looking for a bit of an invade here into the mid lane though. Care needs to be a bit wary. Over comes Meiko and JJ looking for an angle. Rookie burns the ult. They get the steadfast presence. Care can try to run away, ignited. Last order would do it. Wait, there's a shield from the Siphon Power. Still gets out, takes the flash. Avoids only the one turret shot. Flash over the wall from Dway, looking to make sure that JJ is trapped here. Overcomes Sheer as well. Blastcone taken away by the auto attack, and JJ will be traded, making it the 1-for-1. Had you missed that charm? Yeah, a bit of an awkward one. I think he was trying to read the flash, but then Care doesn't have it up, so I'm not sure. Excuse me. Get myself some more water in short order, I think. Shadow. Starting up this dragon. Okay, and also around. Dragon gets that one. Also, Dragon gets one. Shadow gets that dragon. No real contest. Grub's up in 35 odd seconds. See if we get a bit of a contest for that. Guys, I'm going to run away very briefly and get myself a glass of water. So do give me 2 seconds. Hopefully, no actions happen before Grub starts. I'm returning. Nothing, I don't think crazy has happened so far. Few. And now some water. Tickle. Tickle. I don't know why I went with tickle. In the back of my throat. A little bit annoying. Rookie looking for an angle onto Care. Nearly gets it, but a flash on him prevents it from working as Shadow was there to defend. And Rookie's dive goes wrong. Nice response from Shadow. Zoom. Ults the mid lane wave to get some wave control and we'll reset here. Good work from Shadow there. A little bit too far from Rookie, who thought he had the angle, and he might have done if it was a 1v1. It was not. And the flash twisted advance brings down an extra man. 2 minutes until Dragon. Not too much more to keep our eyes on. Caedrel's cursing IG and DKI. I suspect he might be. He often does. What the hell was Rookie doing? Yeah, well, he thought he had the 1v1 is what he thought he was doing. It just didn't work. Because it wasn't a 1v1, wasn't it? Thought he had ability to get back out, so had the flash and one more charge of the ult, but a flash twisted advance. Ended up catching him off guards a little bit there. Good turnaround from Care. Alongside his jungle to make that one back again. Shadow's back around again. Actually, might want to punish again. He on the way. Bot side, the Shy eats a fair amount of damage from this Jace. But in fairness to the Shy, only dropping 10 or so CS into this Jace lane. It's not bad going. Rookie going to get the reset off here. I don't think anyone's going to be able to find them. Have got Mako and JJ around and about on the Wukong and Poppy. Chat, you have returned. Welcome back, Jay. Gonna look for something here as well. As IG finds some good value. Shy gets a good chunk. Chip throws down a big old chunk. How dare he? Shy might be in a spot of bother here. Don't think it's going to lead to all that much. So it's Jir off on a side angle. Debating going for a warrior. It's a flash on forward for the volcanic rupture. That's what I have to remember. Call of the Forge God also summoned. Sheer yet to flash. Does get hit, and that's the brittle proc down. Number 2 available. Mako on Rookie around, but so is Shadow. So difficult to dive that. A little over aggressive from the Shy, but does bring Sheer low. Without the teleport, means he's unlikely to be able to help around this dragon. So it might be worthwhile in the end of it. TP back in from Hair. Sheer not going to be here. Carl needs to be a bit wary. No control of that banana bush. In comes the Maokai ultimate. Shy caught up by it. Into the back of the pit we look. 2-shot barrage and retag onto anybody in the back of the pit, though. It's really dicey for Mako and Jir. Mako, I think, burns out. It ends up being Dragon for IG, but a kill back to assume. Well, actually, with the Ignite, I think it might end up being Dway. So, not the end of the world, I suppose. But still, that's the 3rd kill, and therefore a mark towards feat strength. And good for them. Bisto. Drinking some more water. Rookie might require a bit of that to help this particular medicine go down. It's painful stuff as Rookie just about gets to ult away. Does have to burn his flash. Carriageway also down there, so not the end of the world. Mako's now around. He's in a 1v3. I don't think he wants to be here too much. He's going to get Twist Advanced onto. So let's have the Steadfast Presence going. Good charm there onto Shadow. He's actually gone towards the locket first item. Don't see that very much anymore. Mid lane, Assume now in danger. Start 2 of the Cyclone. And a crushing blow brings down the Misfortune. Nice gank in mid lane. Mako going to hold on to this bot side wave. Rookie has to drop the wave. Bit annoying for him, but does survive importantly. Apologise for my little quiet at the minute. I'm trying to get through as much water as I can. My voice feeling a little bit tight. That's not great news considering you've got a lot of best of 5 to do today. Do need to keep our eyes on it. I'd rather be able to speak to you all. Bit of a gold lead here early to FPX. Get hydrated, idiot. Thank you very much, Karuri. I'm assuming it's Karuro is what it should be. Alrighty then. True Shot Barrage comes across for a bit more work there. That's going to put away in a slightly awkward position. JJ gets into the pit, nabs away the Herald. Oh, Shadow, that's annoying. The bullet time is good though from Asu. Gets a lot of damage back. The corner forward score finally comes on through, but it's still going to be a lot of damage back. Care dies. Important pickup for the side of Rookie, who's starting to get some reset. He's got a double already. Looking for Shadow, who flashes over the wall, but Gala is there to finish up what his mid lane has started. Sheer now in danger as he's shunted away from the Ezreal courtesy of the heroic charge. And IG find 4. Good work from them. Here's the replay again. Bullet time looked solid, and it kind of was, but it's mostly onto a clone and onto Mako. Another great charge in from the side of the Shy, who will eventually go down here, but he's done a lot of his work already, and Rookie, cleaning up so many members, got very dicey. Joy has to run away on the other side. He can't do much to help Sheer. What do you do at this point? Still the barrier on Gala, gives him an extra couple hundred HP to work with. Really good work there on the Ezreal. Now Rookie, 6 stacks on that Dark Seal, building towards a Leandri's second. Stuff from him. He wants to be able to deal with some of those HP stackers in the form of that Maokai and Alistair in particular. Play those slightly longer fights. IG with the first turret. All themselves to feats of strength. Always feels nice when you get upgraded Ionian boots and the like. More ability haste always feels very good on people like Ahri and Ezreal. Dragon about to spawn. Herald drop mid for that counterweight pressure. But onto the dragon we go. Turret topside claimed by Sheer. Good news for him. Ordering the turret best we can. Does some good work there. That means that IG will at least trade that turret back in the grand scheme of things. Gala up a lot of gold now. Good for him. That Muramana completion nice and early here on the Ezreal. Rookie also pretty fed here after that rough dive topside, which got a little bit awkward. Just pick up a lot of kills here. Only 1,000 or so gold ahead, so not monumental as yet. Just felt like the early objectives feel very good as the Shy uses the spellbook to bring in Exhaust out and beginning to look at Sheer. It's a lot of damage. In comes Shadow, but Mako also around. True Shot Barrage tags up onto Sheer. Trades of ultimates and response patterns from both teams. Sheer does survive. He's going to be forced to reset here, though. It makes things interesting around things like, I say Atacama, but it's spawning on the bot side as Care will take that tier 1. Be traded by IG here. Rookie shoves the wave in mid lane, so it ends up being a trade of turret for turret in the grand scheme of things. Orcs has stopped concentrating in LCK now, so it's over, so the Chemtrails start appearing here now. Well, that's what Orcs does, you know. His power is unmatched. Rookie throws out some good numbers. Ooh. Good chunks there from JJ. He nabs away that scuttle crab. You chunk out a scuttle crab? I guess I've said it now. So there you go. Atakan up and available. Could be an important one, that. We'll keep our eyes on it. The Shy. Around. True Shot Barrage. Tags a couple. Atakan started by IG. Minute and a half until next dragon as well. So this could end up being a bit of an important fight. Down a half. Are FPX interested in contesting? They got wards down in the alcove in lane. I think Rookie just got spotted by that ward, so they have to have an idea he's there. The charm lands nonetheless onto Shadow. Gonna throw out the ultimate, but is punted away. Ult's still down, but it's not gonna matter because the smite not around anymore. Can look for the fight afterwards. IG now looking to get value off the Thornbound Atakan in the backline with the Cyclone. The knockups, the wall stuns. And Care wasn't careful enough. Mako flashes away. Jway will at least get one back, but the back end of the play looking difficult. To the skies goes Sheer. Can't kill Rookie, who gets the passive healing. And Shadow goes to the realm after his namesake. Yugi Moto would be best, please. A triple to JJ on that Wukong, as the Shy just stands there and builds a few extra bits.
Blue team has scored an ace.
What a bouncy castle Care was put into. Unfortunately, he's a bit tired of that. One has to go home early. Birthday party over. Upgrades to begin to come on through now. Let's have a look at the replay again. So initially it starts with the Keeper's Verdict, knocking the Maokai away. The Rookie goes on forwards, flashes back up, but to get the Charm on Winsum, importantly. Trusha Barrage triggered him, and managed to get Care knocked into the wall. Way flashing on forwards to get that kill, and Rookie does finally get jumped on there. Thought he managed to get away with the passive healing. How does he end up going down? Just Sheer with a shot blast from downtown. Yeah, it is. Good for him. A little bit awkward for Rookie trying to get the kill. Back towards the Dragon we go. Dragon should be secured by JJ, so point now on him. True Shot Barrage across multiple people. The Ancient Grasp not find as much value as JJ. Warrior tricks it into Nimbus Strike, brings down the tree. Charge into the wall on Jway. Stakes thrown down and well aged. JJ gets another flash over the wall from Care, keeps him alive. The damage carries back away from FPX, but down 3 members. It's looking increasingly dire here for FPX. Baron's up and available in a minute, so it's not something that IG can look at, but they can still shove up this mid lane and look for the tier 2. Ignite onto Jway, forced to use his Unbreakable Will. The Andre's upgraded now as well for Rookie alongside that Trinity Force. On towards the Baron we look. Shadow's around, doesn't have flash, so look to get in here. Keeper's verdict, wound up, lands, not quite on a Shadow, but he's still knocked up in by the Shy, who finds that option. Baron secured as Shadow is kept out of the pit. The call of the Forge Bog reactivation gets across, multiple people care. Shunted into the wall again, the two-shot barrage. Tags assume, Cyclone finishes him up, and they blow up 3. Sheer now in danger, Rookie looking for more, lands the charm, falls Sheer out of it to the skies, and just goes to nowhere really in the grand scheme of things. As will Nimbus strike forwards, get a big chunk onto Chue with that crushing blow afterwards. You can look to break the turrets, can IG. This game has been, after a contested early game, pretty damn favoured. JJ pulling a Shadow here. 5,000 gold ahead in the jungle. What a turnaround from him after an awkward game 2 on that Vi. Yeah, he had at one point where he came back into it, but this, much more like it again. Is it just blue side once more? Is that what's happening? Every time. There's Shadow flashing in. Rookie might be in danger here. Zon uses the headbutt pulverize. Gonna try and flash over the ult. Can't quite get that far away, but still survives and gets to reset. Oh dear, they try to pick Rookie and he buys way too much time. The Cyclones come on down. Chue makes his will unbreakable, but it really means so very little at this point. It only buys a moment more. Another triple to JJ. Rookie picks up a few more. Tier 2 broken. Baron on. They got waves crashing through mid lane. Do they want to stop for this turret? I think they might. Maybe don't feel like they can quite end the game as Mako flashes on in. Will break the inhibitor turret, but are much more interested in the Nexus. And whom can damn well blame them? Invictus Gaming strike back in the 3rd game and bring us to series point. A much more decisive game from them. Being hovered, and it is going to be the set. Moonfall comes in, just, you know, yeet him out with your Ra.
I'm a little... Well, and now you also have the set into the Cho'Gath too, so the giant HP of the Cho'Gath can end up damaging you. I'm a little bit worried for the Yasuo Diana playing into some very good anti-melee champions like the Set, the Yorick, and the Lilia. But if you do manage to nuke the Lilia in the initial combo, and she doesn't escape that, then obviously your magic damage goes with it. And becomes a little bit harder to play against what could be an armor stacking team.
Yes, though. Diana Yasuo. Fun knockups. Fun things. Rel, Cho'Gath, and Diana can all do it. You can all blow people up with a big wombo combo. Magnet Storm, into Moonfall, into Last Breath.
And also,
explosions.
for those
Michael Bay. Additional. Curious to see how these teams face up here in the grand scheme. On the riff we go, and I'll let the crowds yell a little bit before we continue that conversation.
欢迎来到英雄联盟。敌军还有30秒到达战场。演戏。
The IG chant leader today trying to take on JDG's chant leader. That's some good Bale-esque growling going on there. Night Rain's just come on out. Maybe more people are being inspired by Elden Ring NPCs.
They've weirdly not added a duo mode. You can only play as 1 player or 3.
It's very FromSoft.
It is. They don't really... A lot of their stuff doesn't make sense. Someone replying in chat. So, look, folks. So people are asking whether Rel ult counts as airborne. Can Yasuo work with that? Yes. The rule of thumb is, if something displaces a champion, Yasuo can ult off of it. Because any kind of displacement, whether there's a Thresh hook pulling you, or a Blitzcrank hook pulling you, or a Maokai like bopping you back with a Q, stuff like that, that counts as an airborne. A displacement is just airborne with a slight direction to it. So set E also works for it too. Anything which shifts your character around against their will, Yasuo can ult with it.
Does it work on Renata Handshake?
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah, it's a displacement against your will, which is an airborne with a direction. It's just, it doesn't always show it for you. Yes, it can work.
Rookie. Gonna eat a fair amount of damage here early there.
So this is what Scout showcased in 2023, and Tristana mid players have done a lot of over time. Is you don't start with the bomb for level 1. 1, you can't always proc it without Hail of Blades, and 2, it pushes the wave faster than you'd like. What you do is you Q start, use the lethal tempo in this case, and you get a very strong trade onto the champion without over pushing your wave. It allows you to get control of the lane matchup, not over push, and then crash on wave 2 or 3 after, once you've had the good trade.
Especially when you got things like ins, outs, and stuff in the game. Not this time around, obviously, but you can put yourself at risk of those level 3 red buff ganks if people go from one quadrant to the other. 0 and 3, unfortunately, on the Tristana. Not had a great show he got at this split, apparently.
Which is crazy, because he's actually been very good on the champion. In fact, I want to say... oh, no, I think it was Fofo, not Cap. But, yeah, no, that was on a game on a Tristana, which was one of only 6 major region players to win a game whilst also having all the kills on their team.
Gala eats a lot of damage there. Not quite down until the bouncing grenade comes on through, and Gala just oversteps in the bot side. Jway goes on in, uses the exhaust, and Gala kind of just goes down.
Yeah, Gala, cleansing, getting hit by another piece of CC, and yes, you get the tenacity, but the damage lands with it. And Jhin, a very powerful laner. This is one of the reasons why we're not seeing as much stuff like the Corki Rel. There are a lot of strong laning phase champions, like the Jhin, and in this case, the Set punishing too, which can be very good in certain bot lane matchups. And IG now have to play from behind in the bot lane matchup.
Very much so. Rookie will dash on through as many things as he can. Jway, we've got to pull back onto Mago. He's taking some turret shots there. We'll be able to use some Ferromancy to crash down, and Jway throws out a Haymaker. I feel like I want to see Set in a Dragon Ball anime at some point, or maybe like some. Actually, I'm going to hold that thought as JJ has actually turned up in mid lane topside. Shadow's done the same versus the Shy. The bowling ball does go just wide. We'll throw out a Feral Scream, but not before the Q is channeled, and the Watch Out Eep comes on through, but the Shy flashes away and does survive. Had some Vorpal spikes to work with, but that's about it. Still love Broken Covenant. Gala in danger. Flash over the wall, and the Nimbus Cloak speed up with Gala in an awful position.
That is very, very bad for IG. They are falling apart in the bot lane matchup. The Corki Rel is not strong enough in early lane compared to the top string of AD carries, and Jhin, I think, in laning phase is still amongst them, despite him not being as high prio as some, like a Varus or something like that. The Jhin, and in this case, the Set versus a melee support, getting huge value. Jway pulling this out after we saw it being played by Erha, by Weibo, getting great laning phase results.
Yeah, needs to be a bit wary here. Rocket jumps away. Mako won't be able to find the ingress, though. Rookie sweeping blading through the wave. Okay, was a little bit wary, and rightly so.
Apparently, Ricky was playing Silas versus Faker's Yasuo and Celica the other day, and he lost quite heavily. What the hell happened here then? So he got ganked early. Does he just get hit by... So he drops out of vision. Trying to heal off the passive. I guess he just gets hit, but the E, the slow, the slow just kills him, I guess.
Yeah. Flash for a Blooming Blows, and yeah, maybe a little disrespectful walking back up there. We've seen that quite a lot recently, where people think the jungler has left and he just sat in a bush.
Yeah.
But turned back around.
Yeah. Questions upon questions. So, the Shy, yeah, he's done this occasionally where he's like, oh, I'll be fine pushing up. I believe he did it on... Oh, it wasn't him, actually. Oh, gets caught into the Dark Procession. Look, this is why I don't like the Cho'Gath into the Yorick that much. It feels good because you get some sustain. It doesn't change the fact that Yorick doesn't care about your sustain. He has enough damage. Dragon started up by IG. 1,000 gold behind at 6 minutes. They need a huge comeback now from this early game. They need to find a big early fight, particularly from this mid-jungle team. So if they hit 6...
Ray goes into the pit. JJ's low. He's not 6. He's in danger. Gets face broken into the Haymaker. 25 Stone Way is actually now really low as JJ gets out of the pit. This is looking a bit better for Rookie because he's down through the Buster Shot to buy some time for the last press coming through. Flash over the wall from Mako. Gala gets the kill. JJ now running up to the Crescent Strike. Running. Dodges away from the Deadly Flourish, and they get 4. A triple to Gala. He's back in the game.
The lanes were losing from IG, but they win once they group up. JJ and Rookie massively outplay, and that's before they had their big combo available. Rookie managed to get an ult midway through the play to get himself an extra shield, get a bit of extra damage down, and stop Care resetting, getting out of the pit, and making things much more palatable for FPX.
We get a replay on that one, because I thought after Dre got in the pit and got a face breaker like
Sam,
that,
there was some Sam, there were fun Yasuo mechanics. There will be a replay.
You may have a point.
Yeah, look, if Yasuo is doing cool stuff, we will get a replay. So the thing which I want you to pay attention to here is, you know, Dway obviously getting a huge intro into the fight. When you don't kill the set, but he takes damage, you really are threatened by his damage. JJ hops over the damage, though, gets some extra things in there, and the kill gets rookie level 6, which allows him to use the Beyblade Keyblade. Had to use it on another target because it was locked out of the Tristana. Gives him the shield from the ultimate, allows him enough damage to turn around the play.
Flashing the Q away is damn cool. Unfortunately, there's a lilting lullaby topside. Cheer will be traded, though, as both junglers get their opposite numbers in top lane.
JJ now at 1 kill, 4 assists. I don't think he's running that domination as a secondary rune, otherwise he'd have all of his 100 stacks. Walking forward, not able to get the stun this time.
The Shattering struck back. Of course, remember, the Q does break shields on Rel, so it can sometimes be kind of nasty into the set if you mistime your W.
Yeah, absolutely, it can be. If you, that means you have to use the Q onto the set at that point instead of using it CC elsewhere. How bad does it feel for Assume and Dway to be 1,000 gold down onto the enemy AD carry after winning the 2v2 so hard?
Darla was 0-2. That lane was over. It was so doomed. It's really not anymore. And credit to IG for finding the fight they needed, but I feel for Dway and Assume. They have had quite a good game, but that fight was so close, but not killing JJ. Rookie getting the level 6 and just hand stiffing that flash Q to get the, is it Keyblade combo off? Is that the name of it?
There are a couple of different ones. I can't remember.
Never been great at identifying them.
The Keyblade is the one where you, okay, there are a couple of different ones. So basically what he ended up doing there is you use an E onto a target, start your Q circle animation, but you flash before it completes to get a knock up onto a different target. You often do that on minions. I believe it was the Keyblade. There's also a Beyblade combo, which is...
Where you let it rip, fart while you press the R button.
No, Sam, you're ruining my analysis. Where you get a knock-up and you EQ before you press ult to deliver an extra Q stack onto them, which is really nice. The Sheer is going to get both of it.
He is. The Crescent Strikes landed the Moonfall, the last breath, and Sheer does not have anything he can do about that one.
Well, a couple of minutes ago we were saying, oh, IG needs to mount a comeback. Well, the comeback is on now. Rookie does have an E through the target if he needs to. Rookie hasn't taken tower aggro, so he's fine there. Wow, flashback.
He hasn't taken turret aggro
yes, he has
yet,
now.
and he has now. Flash on forwards, and Shadow gets the kill back. Nice work.
Dway really trying his best here. Very good game on the set support. Both him and Airher having great games on that recently. Of course, Airher waiting in the next round to face off against the winner of this series. IG, after clawing back the early gold lead, looking a lot more confident now. And we were saying, hey, they needed to have that comeback. They've managed to get a lot of gold in pocket. I think the Corki now getting ahead of the game is a big issue for FPX. They don't have the best way to get on top of that Corki in fights.
Don't, but at the very least, they have had the likes of this Lilia get involved and not allow this Diana to run away with the game. 3 kills already, 4 Shadow, as we've said. When FPX is doing well, it's largely because Shadow is doing well. 3 kills early on a carry jungler. I think that counts. We already saw what happened in the Neferi game earlier. Got another 17 kill game on the Doggo. See if they can do it on a different animal champion. Don't make a joke about my gameplay, Alex.
Well, you've made it yourself now, don't have to. You know, sometimes you leave a little to the imagination, sometimes it's all just all put out there on display. I am, you know, watching out in this top lane matchup, because typically I don't see the Cho'Gath doing that well into the Yorick. However, the Cho'Gath is ahead of the Yorick now, has a bit more wave clear with the Balmy Cinder being bought up, has you know, a lot of armor stacking being built up too. That is important to know. If Shadow goes down, the Cho'Gath will be hard to kill because he's going for full armor. He's hit for that Dark Procession wave going out fairly well. Shy doing some damage towards the Maiden. Does get that, gets the feast. Now he hasn't got max stacks on minions. I'm actually not sure if pets count towards his stacking.
I have no idea.
I mean, he killed the unit with it, but I just don't know whether it counts as a an individual stack or whether it's one of the minion stacks.
Did anyone see whether the number went up in the bottom right corner?
No, Sam, it will go up because he hasn't got max stack on minions. I actually just said that in terms of like, it's just a question of, well, does it count as a minion or as something specific?
Right,
so it's a minion stack. So what it means is that you can only get a maximum of 6 stacks off of the Maiden. It won't be infinitely stacking or something like that.
Good to know. There we go. Apologies on my slight misunderstanding of the statement. JJ will auto some wards down here. Care now in a slightly tricky position potentially. There's a dive option available. Dway's coming, but he's not here anytime soon. Trying to speed his way up, but that is the last breath Moonfall combo coming on forward shortly. Didn't even need to use the Moonfall. It was just Mako with the Magnet Storm that was all that was required. Gives him a bit more threat to work with. Now, though, the Shy caught the Dark Procession again, about to get hit by the bowling ball potentially, but it's onto a minion instead. Blooming Blows come on down. Yeah, to pull the Lilting Lullaby, and the Shy just walks away, happy enough to stay alive for now. No support coming, though, so just be a bit wary about staying under the turret. Is doing so regardless, though. Another Q lands. Turret shot comes across. Lilting Lullaby now coming on in. Yet to take turret aggro. Wakes up. Last tries to come forward. Tried to flash for the feast. And not quite.
I didn't get the extra damage down. I don't think it would have killed. Maybe if he could have killed another couple of minions, it would have made a difference towards his regen from his passive. Couldn't quite manage that. And Shea getting an assist feels a little bad for him. He would have liked to get that kill to get ahead in that individual matchup. But Shadow getting gold, definitely not what IG wants to see either, as the sole magic damage source on the side of FPX.
Absolutely, both of these junglers have been all over the place this game, getting involved in pretty much everything. Upside though, Rookie gonna try and interrupt his back. He's teleported and he's found the reset! She has been interrupted! Windwall comes on down, beginning to stack up the autos and will slide on through, and Shea dies as he's caught Rid reset.
That is a good win there for IG. The Yorick is not getting that much gold, and that's an important thing. You've got some plates there on the top turret, but, you know, Rookie getting that kill onto him, a couple of kills before that too, do start to stack up, because the Yorick should be accruing gold, getting towards that 2 items and being a threat in side lanes. Not been so easy. This is a teleport in from Care. JJ's coming up, Dre's going to protect.
Throws out the Crescent Strike, doesn't quite find it, will rocket belt away, throws out a Smite to slay. While the Shy is bot side, just munching away on some minions. First turret also went down there. They've got the first 3 kills. YG got the feat of strength, and you're running things like Yasuo loves those berserk throws, feels pretty good. You got the Sork Pen boots upgraded for JJ as well with his rocket belt. You're at a very strong point in power here on these 1 items, as IG at the level 9 mark in particular. Ourselves something to work with on this bot side. Ashir throws down the Dark Procession. A little bit lost where I was going with that, but the Shy will just attack the panda.
Stacked up to a lot of armor now. Of course, there's a lot of percent HP on the Yorick, and he doesn't really care about tank stacking after a certain while, but just slow down his ability to kill them, even if it is fairly inevitable. If to get back towards tower, it's fine. Both Yasuo and Diana, very good tower takers. The Diana, very good at cycling through that passive. Worth noting, the reason why Diana is getting back a little bit, farms jungle quicker now with her passive. I think it's now looking like a 260% increase. Might go for a combo here. Cool. That's only a 1-man.
Gets Shadow with it, but JJ is exhausted. What can Rookie do? Facebook comes on now. Mako's coming on over, but it's a little late. Throws out the Q, buys a bit of time, but it opens the curtains, trying to find an angle onto Care, who's gone very deep. Lilting Lullaby for the flash. Rookie goes over the wall, but Shadow still gets it. With that passive, Mako burns out as well. They've overplayed an FPX. Rise from the ashes and turn IG into their former state.
JJ only hits 1 with the ultimate. Should have flashed to confirm all 3, and I think IG would win that fight. The exhaust from Dway came down too to deny the little bit of damage that they did get afterwards, and IG, after playing well in the last few minutes, just threw a handful of kills back towards FPX, which get them well and truly back in the driver's seat.
6 kills now for Shadow, and I want to reiterate something you said in draft, and it will hold true again. If you fail the Yasuo Diana combo once, that combo goes wrong once, it don't get easier.
This should have been a flash on towards Care and towards Dre as well. Like, you can get a 3-man ultimate there by investing the Diana flash. He chose not to, maybe thinking he had a little more range or thinking they'd step a step forwards. They don't get the 3-man combo, and they completely fall apart. Now, that is definitely a good point to bring up. You know, if you fail the Yasuo Diana combo, especially when you're ahead of the game, it gets harder to do the next time. I think they've got another failure in them because it's so early in the game that the combo's been pulled. But giving this much gold over is a problem. And in fact, actually, no, maybe I take that back. Shadow has a Seekers now. That gold has been afforded to him by that failed combo.
Big win there on that front. The gold is pretty much even. You've still got Dragon to play for, Soul Point and Ocean Soul when you're running things like Cho'Gath, and Yasuo as well can be very obnoxious in the side lanes and stuff. Herald, a potential here for FPX. Wanting to rush that one down. Do IG want to contest this? I think they'd rather just set up the Dragon and give up this Herald personally. Got them those 3 grubs as well. So, in a decent spot in terms of their ability to use their side lane win conditions appropriately. Did get a turret there, did Care. Suddenly exploding in gold lead was kind of just behind the Yasuo, but that win in that fight into getting that turret has kind of brought them into a minor lead there, so good news for Care.
Good objective damage coming through from IG. Again, the Diana very good at killing things in the jungle now, because her passive now applies at 260% effectiveness versus jungle. Yeah, it's went from 225 to 260. It's a big increase in her farming speed, which allows her to farm as well as we've seen that. However, on the other side, you know, FPX have used that Herald to take Top lane in a turret. Care is getting closer towards what I assume to be the Infinity Edge second item. And Care, look, it's quite hard to escape the Yasuo Diana combo with the buffer, because what happens is, like, if you get hit by the Diana ult and then Yasuo ults immediately afterwards, there's a chance that you actually get your buffer interrupted anyway, because you start jumping and then it gets reapplied anyway with the suspension. It's quite hard because the Yasuo needs to, like, immediately press the R key effectively, but it's quite hard to escape the Yasuo Diana as the Tristana, basically.
Right, we'll bring that one down. It's actually at 5 stacks now on this choker, getting tankier and tankier. And the game is close. Soul point was secured by IG as well, so for all that play topside was problematic. Down 1,000 gold, and those are big issues. You are still with this win condition here. It's not like they're out of this game. It's not like they're not non-threatening. It's just you look at the mid jungle and go, oh god, there's just suddenly 1,000 gold ahead after the last 5 minutes.
And Yasuo Diana have always been very, very snowbally. I remember back in 2022, the durability patch. Before that point, Yasuo Diana was everywhere. It was very explosive.
Lince's playing it.
Lince's was playing it. He's now, of course, up on Team Vitality in the LEC. And he won the NLC playing similar stuff. It was a split lane. It was after the durability patch afterwards. But yes, problem is now, champions are tankier now, less likely to get completely one-shot than they were around that kind of time about 3 years ago now. And if you fall behind the curve, with champions being a little harder to kill, when you've got triple actually, Ninja Tabi coming over onto the middle 3 members of FPX, it gets a lot harder to pull off this combo, especially when you're behind.
Diana has at least got her own arm guard to work with now. It's not in a bad position with the level 11. You can still well pull this combo off. Rookie, though, would love this second item completion pretty heavily here. The Immortal Shield Bow makes life a lot easier. They just get hit by the spell seed, but remember, you've got the Wind Wolf. Not that easy to guarantee something like the Floating Lullaby. It's all about Q3 landing. Dway doesn't want to take that forward, understandably, but a couple good angles there with the Steel Tempest. Dway flashes for that one, though, and Dway is dead. The exhaust comes on there, but it's a little too little, it's a little too late. The Floating Lullaby only hits onto one. Shadow very low, needs to be afraid as another Q goes flying on through. Buster shot, though, and an auto brings down Rookie.
Rookie goes too far and can't get that last knockup. Once again, the Yasuo Diana put a little bit further behind. Yes, Dway goes down on 1-for-1, but with the Yasuo dying, it's not helping IG get resources on their main engage combo.
It looked so good for a second or two there, but to look for more on Rookie, just eats a Buster shot and a fourth shot, I believe. Might have been a dancing grenade.
I think it was just a regular auto attack. Like, he's not that tanky. I don't even think it needed to be a fourth shot. So the 2-man combo comes through. Exhaust from Dway denies some damage, and yes, Dway doesn't get the proper W, which is nice. But now Rookie doesn't manage to ignore as many ults as he likes, and then it is the fourth shot going forwards actually. But even then, they had so much extra healing. The dancing grenade comes through to it. All the point and clicks follows him through the journey.
Both AD carries just turn and hit their buttons, and Yasuo does not have an Immortal Shield Bow yet, and all the flow in the world wasn't going to save you there, I think.
Minute and a half until Dragon comes up. Atacon spawning on top side of the map. As IG do have themselves Soul Point around the corner, and a Cho'Gath with Ocean Soul is disgusting. Yeah. Worth noting, by the way, that normally you have to hit damage onto an enemy champion to activate the Ocean Soul. Because there's a Cho'Gath with the Thornmail, you attacking him activates the Ocean Soul for him, because it does damage to you, because at the end of the day, you need to be the one dealing damage. By the way, Finn, you know, former LEC top laner, and current analyst there on the broadcast as well, has been playing Airy Thornmail Kayn top lane, because if you auto attack him, it applies Thornmail and the Airy hits you as well, which gets you more of the stacks for Kayn.
Just atrociously annoying.
Now, yeah, it means that you don't get a rune for later into the game, basically, but it means you get your form really quickly.
Like, he was showing me through his cooking account, where he kind of goes and does weird things.
Yeah, Kha'Zix's top lane.
It's Kha'Zix's top lane with, like, Ignite Teleport.
Yeah, he does that into some, like, squishy matchups. Gala might run into Shadow. Shadow's quite fed. 6 kills, as we've been saying. 2.5 items, has the double mask stacking combo, and does hit the splash damage onto Gala.
Oh, Valkyrie away, hit by the Deadly Flourish and the burn afterwards at this point. It's beginning to stack.
But what that ends up doing is just giving some poke onto Gala, a very important point, because we do have 10 seconds till the Dragon now. There is a combo available from JJ and Rookie. No flash for Diana, which makes it harder to land. No exhaust from Dway, though, which means if it does land, it hurts more.
2 items also now done for Rookie. The Immortal Shield Bows come on through. Got a bit more crit, got a bit more safety. Gala trying to find his way over to the play. Sheer now also coming on. Care will make sure the auto sends Gala slightly the wrong way, slows down this Dragon take a little, as well as he goes wide. Shadow going to play this one out, gets engaged onto, will go Zhonya's mode to buy a bit of time. Dragon secured by the Lilia. Buster shot buys the time, the move ball comes on through, trying to play, who drags Yasuo out the back of the pit, and he's dead! Now that everyone's going golden, in goes Shadow, gets another kill. Gala at least gets one back, but the Shy is in a 1v4, he'll die. Invictus Gaming looking not very victors here as the curtains are called and Gala escapes, but he's the one member to do so.
Gala lives to tell the tale, but IG do not get their soul. They lose 4 members, and they only get Sheer in the return. They'll lose a tower too, so FPX take a huge game-changing play around the Dragon. We were warning about IG's combo looking like it was falling far behind. It's only going to get more difficult beyond this point. FPX take this victory, roll into 2 towers even. IG full 5,000 gold behind.
I'll look at this again because it got very dicey for a second, but the Zhonya's from Shadow buys him so much.
Well, Rookie doesn't pull the trigger onto him. He doesn't want to pull that ultimate, partly because at this point in the game, if he ults the Lilia there, the double AD carries kill him in the duration of his ultimate, because he can't put down the wind wall midway through his ultimate. And yeah, the Zhonya's comes through afterwards. Rookie obviously not feeling confident enough to go in to continue that CC chain. Perhaps a mistake, perhaps a problem with the Rel not locking up the backline instead of the Lilia is there, but Shadow put himself into the right position, gets a 7th kill, gets a Dragon steal, and IG will have to wait for another 4 minutes now to see if they can come back and look for a steal.
Trouble comes in fours apparently, because they're now 4,000 gold behind as well. That's getting problematic, I think, to say the least. Again, Care having a good game on that. Tristana there hops into the pit, Buster shots 3 members back as they're looking for some of their melee autos, and it just doesn't get easier as Jway as well. What an ult out of that pit as well to prevent the Yasuo finding more value.
I mean, that was like the cherry on top. I actually don't think that changed the fight that much. It was very
But
low
it was
HP.
cool.
But it does look fun, for sure it does. It looks fun. Of course, Baron spawning not too far into the future. Atakan available on top side. You do have a 2-item Corki who's doing quite well for themselves. But Gala, in the lead up to that last play, was just randomly mispositioned out from the rest of his team. Kept bopped him into the wrong spot as well with the blast cone, which meant that he couldn't necessarily position himself perfectly before the last fight. IG, if they had a more traditional mid jungle at this point, I think they'd be feeling quite happy because they do have a Cho'Gath who's in a good spot and an AD carry who doesn't have that many threats onto him in the backline. You know, FPX don't have that great backline access, but this mid jungle has to throw themselves into hell really to get any value, and FPX are punishing that.
Once again, return to that statement that was made in draft saying, if you fail the combo once, it gets ugly. They failed the combo once, and it's just gotten harder and harder and harder. And we've yet to see another big multi-man Diana ultimate. Atakan's being started. Invictus Gaming do know about it. Got that one ward around that is unspotted. Do they want to contest this? Rookie has TP, is laning against the Yorick, though. Looking to reset. Atakan just taken. They don't want that fight. Would rather, I think, save a lot of their ammunition for the Dragon that's spawning in 2 minutes.
So FPX, you know, they get themselves that small bonus. IG, they don't want to commit everything towards that play. They have Diana Flash. Is an issue that, you know, the Diana Flash is up, but the exhaust is too for Jway. He's just saving it for the Diana combo. And given that the... now, there are... sorry. This is... I said this is someone who used to play a lot of Diana, had a lot of Diana main friends, actually. Jeja does have some secret tech available to him now, where you go towards the flash combo, immediately hit Zhonya's, so you can't get exhausted. So that's because you can't target someone in Zhonya's, so you can't target them with the exhaust. So what Jeja can do is go for that flash combo, immediately hit exhaust, hit the Zhonya, so you get the full damage, and hopefully that means that Jway's exhaust isn't going to be the game changer. See if they can pull that off in a minute. I think FPX, they have a lot of extra tools to play around. We are looking for slim angles for IG now. Because let's be honest, if a Swell Seed lands, a W lands from Jin onto someone who's taking damage, that could honestly be IG's team fight over before it's begun.
Maybe an ER flash into Zhonya's might be the way forwards. Rush value, always quite high if you can find a good angle in. Guy looking to sweep out some of these wards. Quite get that one, unfortunately. And again, one of the issues that we can start to play around, reminder, is they do have the Cho'Gath Feast on objectives. Quite hard, theoretically, to deny the smite. I think that's partly why the boss shot last Dragon fight was quite important.
Yeah, for sure. The Sheer is trying to contain the Shy up towards the top side of the map. With that in mind, I think the Shy will try and wave clear a little bit. The Sheer Sheer hasn't ended up running this game through side lanes in the way that FPX potentially would have liked to do. The Shy will try to clear out one more wave and then teleport down. Dragon spawning in 20 seconds. FPX On the other side of it, they have a 2-level lead in mid lane and in jungle too. They have the combat power is so massively in favor of FPX. IG must secure the dragon. That is the only way they come through this game.
Left one over, started with the ward at the back of the pit though, making sure they understand exactly what's happening to FPX. Picture in picture. Cheer and the Shy fighting out, looking in the back, throws out the Wimble, looks for a Q3, needs to be a bit afraid of Dway, who does get the Moonfall combo! That's not bad looking, they get one! They've gotten care! Shadow goes golden, Gala survived! What about Shadow in the back end of it? They do manage to get the dragon! Not quite as Shadow steals it! And it's all looked so great, and still it's not enough.
It looks close until you realize Jeje had died before the smite. It wasn't a 50-50. Shadow easily picks up the dragon, and while the combo looked okay, Jeje didn't get the Zhonya's down before he ended up dying, or indeed got exhausted too. It's a feel-good moment for a brief moment, but then the dragon goes down. IG miss another chance at Soul, and FPX might be forcing us towards a deciding Game 5.
Somehow, someway, it was always going to end this way with an Invictus Gaming squad, wasn't it? Slack Cleave was finally done for Gala, but hope we get the replay. It looked brilliant for half a second, and then Shadow survives, despite the fact they got care. Have a look again, because Rookie's going to flash on out and find the angle back on him, but how come JJ doesn't get to... I think he's put asleep is what it is. He managed to get the Moonfall off, and his Lilting Lullaby at the same time, so can't press Sonya's.
You should be able to. I mean, there was nothing of really CCing him. So that's a mistake there from Jeje. Goes to sleep afterwards. Big mistake. You can't afford to make a mistake like that in the key moments. Jeje has a composition it's hard to play into, but now 2,500 gold down. That's hard for any jungler to play into.
Very challenging. Baron now in as well.
Worth noting as well, you know, if the Shy didn't teleport down for something like a Chomp Secure, I wonder whether you just give up an inhibitor for the chance of that. I wonder if that's better, because it only gets harder the more times you lose it. You could have increased that. This is your way out, right? Getting that Ocean Soul. That's your way out of this. They failed 2 dragon fights back to back. Now FPX very cleverly playing around, you know, Shadow being very hard to kill actually with this buying this far, with this kind of lead being this far ahead.
Yeah.
And IG, I think they've mis-executed on the dragon fights very heavily.
I tend to agree. Get some autos down on the tier 2. They throw out the Swell Seed. Wait. Potentially dangerous spot there, but again, at this point, the set has been such an obnoxious part of this game, right from level 1, practically.
Shadow could actually flash for an ultimate, you know. I was actually worried about that. Here goes the combo.
Oh, gets the care. He does go golden, flashes away, says damage. Now Dway's in danger. The Lilting Lullaby back is pretty decent. Turn around with the Magna Storm of Shadows very deep, goes golden himself. Now in danger, trying to turn this around. The health bar desperately low. The curtain's being called. As JJ will body block the explosive charge, makes people very scary. Oh, gets the W after securing, but the 4th shot goes wide. Rookie in the 1v1 with shit, can't quite get the kill as the last rides come on down. And they do get Shadow, but the health bar's just too low and they can't threaten the backline enough.
Oh, Gala ended up kind of having to be forced back as well. Teleport coming in towards this mid turret. That could be too far from Sheer. Actually had the flash.
Does flash out of the Rupture, Shattering Strike, does get the turret. What happens after? The Dark Procession comes on through as soon now with the 4th shot. Very scary himself. The Jin hasn't really been the story of this game out of the early levels, but does get to begin to unleash right now as Care. Rocket jumps forwards. It's now a 2v4 in their base. Invictus Gaming holding against the hordes of FPX.
This is for a Game 5 decider. Elimination match. IG, the super team, being forced the distance.
Showstopper comes on through, and Gala gets back to the fountain, but not for long, as he's turned into a beautiful bloom. Assume finds another auto. The FPX logo comes on out, and they bring us to 5.
Yeah, the Moonfall combo failing IG. Last pick now for Shadow. And he locks in the Lee Sin. FPX and Lee Sin, a tale as old as time, whether it was Milky Way, Tien, or any of the other journeymen which came through the FPX organization. Lissandra Lee Sin, if they ever lock you down, will one-shot you. They have a stronger frontline, do FPX. They have much worse DPS though, so if they fail that first pick, things get a little bit tricky. IG, they have decent range with the Hui. The Aatrox and the Kai'Sa can individually pop off and cause issues too. But FPX, if they get the CC onto a target out of position, let's be honest, IG, their positioning has been suspect at points this series. The resets from the Lissandra passive, spawning those frozen thralls, might just be the frozen tide.
Lissandra Lee Sin helping a Draven Snowball. That early mid-game, that one-item spike will rock IG's world. The crowds yell for a final time today.
敌军还有30秒到达战场，碾碎他们！
The FPX fans doing their very best to match the insane energy of the IG crowd whenever they are playing. The amount of people who turn up to support is pretty unreal. The most experienced, the most veteran, the most successful players in the league all combined together on average. Every single player in there has got a title to their name of some capacity.
International titles abound for IG, but it hasn't led to an easy journey for the team. Invictus Gaming assembled a super team at the start of the year with aspirations of going international once again. Rookie not made an international since Worlds 2019, and the curse has continued up until this point. Now, I have to say, it would have to be an incredible level up from them if they were to make it somehow through the lower bracket. But that could be cut short. We could be keeping that conversation very short, because FPX could stop them from going beyond round 1 of the lower bracket, which is where IG went out to top esports in the first splits of the year. Jungle start top side for both of these junglers. Shadow on the Lee Sin does have a lot of champions he can perform quite well into, especially with the amount of CC locking people down for the Sonic Wave later into the game.
Reminder, folks, make no bones about it, if IG went out here twice in a row, in winter, in spring, round 1 of the lower bracket, it would be an unequivocal failure. Not what they want FPX here, but to really make things interesting. I actually quite like their draft here. I think they've managed to find a cohesive, coherent draft with some very scary angles to snowball into a very scary position. The attempted engage there gets a cleanse out of Gala, the ignite burned in trade.
And then the thing is that the cleanse was blown by Assume 2, who got rooted by Mako. If that root didn't hit, the extra auto attacks could have been deadly. Shadow a little bit low HP on the clear, as he sometimes can be as the Lee Sin. There was a competition, by the way, a challenge a few years ago, which was the Lee Sin clear challenge within the LPL, showing how quickly you can get into your jungle clear. Shadow spotted out by Jet, and with Rookie getting the push on, unsurprisingly, on the way, and getting good trades against Lysandra, again, unsurprisingly, no option here in mid lane for Shadow.
Not as yet. Once things like level 6 come on through, you can start to get some very nasty combos between Lysandra and Lee Sin. Back when Lysandra and Syndra were really, really meta prior to Syndra's rework when she was a big old lane bully, the level 6 spikes there were pretty damn nasty, it has to be said.
Jumping back in, avoids the Hwei passive there, importantly. That explosion on the ground if you're double tapped with Hwei abilities. Getting some good value there. Cannon denied, I believe, actually, by Hwei body blocking it, the W coming out of the Kai'Sa.
Let the Draven continue to bully best he can. Pretty nasty. Both junglers understandably at this bot lane. Shadow, the fact is clear, was a little slower. Going to turn onto this Scuttle Crab. Picks it up. Should be able to get that down before someone like JJ can get involved. Shadow does come across though with the resonating strike. He's actually also been left very low there. Got tangled with Mako there. Heal was burned. Hit by that severing bolt from Rookie. Just poking out here. Gets another auto on. And Care is going to have to reset here, you have to imagine.
IG. The early lanes are a thing which I'm worried for FPX. You know, the Kai'Sa Nico, definitely strong. The Lysandra can struggle against the Hwei as well due to that range increase. And of course, Aatrox has notoriously always been a good anti-tank champion. FPX, though, when they start setting up for the Lee Sin, when they start setting up for the Lysandra passive to come through, that's when their composition really comes alive. The question for me will be how early they can do it and how much damage can IG do before that point. Plate goes down in the favor of the Shy already. That should be, you know, a warning for you. These lanes from IG are disgusting.
Very much so, and that's the plan. Use the shove, use the early pressure. Keep themselves in a good position. Eyes, though, will always turn towards the ring bearer, so to speak. Or maybe the glory bearer. What's the passive from Draven? Is it glory? It is glory. Adoration. Adoration stacks. That's
yeah, Adoration is that, but it's League of Draven is the passive name. League of Draven.
Our eyes on it, because that lane is definitely a bit more doable. Or you've got the Nico, who is one of the more oppressive laners in the league.
Yeah, I think it's the support, most lane dominant support in the meta. Longest range, good poke. And the thing is, as opposed to something like Xerath or Brand or something like that, doesn't just have good damage in laning phase, or Vel'Koz support, something like that, also still performs as an engaged champion later into the game. You are very fragile. You do have negatives of the Nico, but you have good vision control with your W clone, and your ultimates later on with the Protobal are very, very strong too. So you don't lose that much for picking the Nico as a lane bully.
You don't. Nico, at best to be big win condition here. Mako has had an odd split. We all remember that Blitzcrank game. 0-12, I believe, was the end score for the man. It was very poor.
Contest over the dragon. We're going to see the Kaisanika come up. Maybe. This is the bomber is dangerous, though. There's a level 6 Lissandra. That's a problem. They go...
Flies in with the frozen tomb. The Spyro Spare comes back as JJ tries to survive. Does drive through the wall and survives. As a Zoom flashed over to try and get that kill and doesn't secure it.
Someone had to body block Shadow. I think he had to body block the W going through the wall. Tank the CC, but make sure the Draven can get that cash in. That's so much put in towards the objective.
Severing Vault sidestep by Shadow will pick up the dragon. The Grim Visage comes on down and holds Jway in place. As they will safeguard over to Assume. They get the dragon, but burn a lot of summoners to find the pick and don't really get that much in trade.
No, they don't. Kare's gone for the spellbook, by the way, getting the heal actually in inventory. Now, not going towards the more aggressive electrocute or something like that. But Assume committing the flash and not getting the shutdown. You can see how desperate they are to get this combo online. We were saying, hey, how early can FPX get grouped up and get value before the damage IG's lanes can do becomes too much? They almost get themselves the cash in. That would have been a great pressure release for them, but they can't quite manage it.
Shy topside just chunks out the shear as well. It's a good grasp proc, gets the full Darkin Blade combos off. Another passive auto. The grass continue to fly. It's actually going for the world under here. Trying to force shear to ult away. Gets another Q. Shear does manage to tank his way through it well enough. Doesn't have the TP, but can look to potentially ult back to lane as the Shy just looking to get as much pressure down as he can. 45 seconds on Grub's worth noting.
So that'll be another chance for FPX to group up and see if they can use the Lissandra ultimate. No flash on JJ this time to get out of the plate. He said, might not necessarily need it. The Q3 just kills him. Shit, doesn't even, did he have the ultimate? He did.
Yeah.
Sheer just doesn't pop the ultimate. The Shy blasting Sheer in the individual 1v1. And for a player that was so good on debut on JDG, the individual laning this split, this year, has not matched up for what we know from him. The Shy just bullying him.
He tried to pull the ult, it's on cooldown, and the Shy just hit him mid-start of the animation, so it basically wasn't pressed. It was too late to be anything useful at all.
Well, no, you don't stop the ultimate once it's in there, so because you can't knock him up out of it. It's just on cooldown.
Killed him midway through.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that does make more sense because
so
there is a reason it's called the Unstoppable Onslaught.
Yeah, indeed. So it was
Grub's now started up with
the
the top lane priority. Shadow trying to get a steal, gets the first one. That's one taken.
Fine work around it. Sheer has come back in after having died topside. They come. Assumer's also rotated up. Want to try and steal away at least one of these grubs. JJ's around. Has got the Impale to work with. Assume also with a Whirling Death. They're going to get a second grub. That one nabbed away actually by IG. I do apologise. But the smite used to claim a second at least for FPX.
So Shadow used the smite on the first one, meaning he didn't have the smite to contest the second one, whereas JJ did. It was always going to likely be a grub taken by IG. But it was a question for me about whether there would be an engage onto the flashless jungler trying to look for that smite. Not the case here. FPX don't find themselves a fight. They do get the grubs, but they do leave some side lanes unattended, and IG now have a significant gold lead.
Good stuff from them early. And again, you've locked in a Draven, and your lanes aren't looking very pretty here. The Wei has managed the Lissandra well. The bot lane got somehow a Kai'Sa is ahead of a Draven. Yes, you've got the Nico, but trying to rotate this Draven around to get involved in fights has meant you've dropped some CS, meant you've dropped a little bit more than you would have liked. And said about top lane, the better. That's a rough start for this style.
Sheer just disrespected the trades from the Aatrox a few times. Down 10 CS, down to kill the Shy. A player who I think has actually been excellent for IG on the whole. Yes, he's had his down games, but who hasn't on IG? I mean, compare the Shy to his Weibo days, where I think he was the most inconsistent member of that team, both in highs and in lows. I actually think for IG, he might actually be their most consistent member. How insane is that to say?
I know. Feels like possibly him or Gala, probably the two I would go towards.
Yeah, and even then, you know, look, and that this is all like a relative scale. All of them have had duff games and been inconsistent, but I think it's worth praising the Shy for the gameplay he has shown. Shadow takes a root from Mako.
Does indeed. Shadow. Bit of damage there. Ward down to spot out the Lee Sin invading again. Not really found all that much value yet, and going even as a Lee Sin is not what you want. We need to see Lee Sin do things. Remind people that JJ, the last time I saw him play Lee Sin, went full lethality Lee Sin and just broke people's ankles.
Yeah, and I'm almost a little surprised here that Shadow hasn't gone for the full like damage Lee Sin, because this is a composition where you need to have burst out that first target. You have CC for it, And then you get the passes coming through from Lissandra. The Shy taking a tower shot. I still think he can win the individual trade with the ultimate regen coming through. Gets the knockup out of that Q. When you cancel the Sion Q, it goes on a 1 second cooldown, by the way, so it doesn't completely remove that from Sion.
Doesn't indeed. Dragon was about to spawn. I wonder if that was why Sheer was bot side, but now having TP topside. Yes, he's got the ult, so he could theoretically join via the semi-global instead, but does mean IG might feel a bit freer to set up around the dragon. Would be a denial of a second dragon for FPX, which could be quite important here.
They have the strength to do it as well. The worry is, the real worry is that they end up giving over a bad fight and Lissandra pops you with the passive and then suddenly everyone's trapped into the play. That's the worry. Also, Assume has 220 stacks. I can't remember the last time that we commented on that one, but if he does get that, that's a ton of gold, which of course would give Assume a much more powerful ability to snowball into the game.
The execution threshold is going to be very high with 220 odd stacks of adoration. Very worthy of calling that out. Eyes on it. Now in this river, the Grim Wizard come on through. He's a bit of a scouting spot. Dre eats a lot of damage there just incidentally. At least gets the Eclipse off, so doesn't end up burning as much HP as I initially thought as additional skill shots.
So has the pot running now. Sheer walking down the river will be spotted heading into here over the Scuttle Shrine, so IG will know there's a potential flank engage. FPX, I think they're looking for the fight more than the dragon itself. They really want to get a combo.
Flash for the Zenith Blade comes on in. There's Sheer with the unstoppable onslaught. Cash in onto the way. The Spiraling Despair comes on through. The pop loss about from Mako means very little. Gala hit by the decimating smash. The Shy finally turns on up. Has got the Sundered Sky on the World Ender. Can look for a lot more kills. It makes it a 1-for-1. Trying to turn around now until the Shy is going to be knocked up and potentially put into a dangerous position. Hit by that Sonic Wave. Resonating Strike not taken. Looks for a Q. Can't quite land it. The shape changer used to fake a clone going on forward 1-for-1, but the cash in oh so important for Assume.
It is. So the 1-for-1 not really equal. Assume gets a huge amount of value. Doesn't blow his flash for it this time either. He'll go back to complete his first item if he can complete it. No mana right now, which is a little annoying for him. Dragon not actually started by either team, and as we were saying before, really was just FPX looking for the fight rather than looking for the dragon itself.
Look at this replay again because it starts with a full setting.
Yeah, Rookie has flash, chooses not to flash the Zenith Blade, knows that there is an engage coming through from the side too. Just poor positioning in the river there without something else to tank up the engage from either side. It's not a bad Hwei ult to make sure that there's some kind of delaying afterwards, and Mako with the ultimate does at least buy his own survival. Credit to the Shy here as well, actually saying, okay, you've used all of the flashes going in, you don't have the turnaround damage now. Getting at least one turnaround back. This Aatrox very, very fed.
1,400 gold ahead. Had the Sundered Sky for that fight, and yes, the Draven does get a gold lead. It's only 400 gold, not exactly game breaking yet, but then in goes Care, gets pulled back by the...
He has flash.
Down in chains. By the Q, won't turn into a resonating strike though. The body of Lee Sin disagreeing with the mind this time around.
Using that to check out brushes. The Shy does have flash and ult. They really want to take this Aatrox off the board if possible. They have the CC for it. Care also has Malignance now, by the way. Really wants as much ult uptime as possible. Here they go. Where's the kick?
Looking for that Dragon's Rage. The Shy goes on in, tries to find some value. 8 seconds on his World Ender, but the Whirling Death secures another. Shut down for Assume, and suddenly he's 800 gold in the lead.
Gala pushing mid lane, at least taking that mid lane out to turret most likely, but FPX are using their engage combo well. The pick combo is starting to get this mispositioned IG into a difficult spot. The gold lead is now nothing, basically. Yes, there's going to be a tower taken in mid lane to open up a little bit again, but the gold lead specifically for Aatrox not being able to be used in that fight is huge. FPX, they can point at the most fed member on the enemy team and say, you are not going to be able to fight the way you want to.
Nice attempt there to prevent too much happening, but in the end, the Shy can't hold the line. Was trying to wait for his ult to come up. You could see IG moving now to try and defend him, which wasn't enough. And Gala can't get the mid-tier one either. Good sequence for FPX, and IG a little bit wanting.
Worth noting as well, with so much CC from the side of FPX, there is a huge emphasis on building Mercury treads. That does open up the door for Shadow and for Assume to have a lot more damage in this game as full physical damage. Burst traders, really. Assume going towards a collector second with that in mind. Still actually would have preferred something like well, maybe it's good for his ultimate share cash-ins anyway. Had 2 cash-ins now, of course the second one meaning less because he didn't have chance to stack up as many things from the start of the game. But Assume both summoners up, lead in the game, even with a Gala cashing in a cull behind in gold.
Yeah, though, two pull back by those Infernal Chains. A bit wary there. Lissandra, notoriously quite short range. The Aatroxes have been known to bully Lissandra's once or twice in the past in prior iterations of these two champions being meta.
choosing not to stay for the rest of that wave, maybe afraid of the Shy going for a trade on turret. He did have the ultimate. I think he could have actually collected that wave before going to back towards that top side of the map. Kai'Sa now heading towards top side. Maybe Care wondering whether he was truly on weak side or not. Going towards a very heavy cooldown build, as we were saying before. Malignance on the ultimate. Now what could be something like a Horizon Focus second. We'll see what comes through from Care. Spellbooked over towards Exhaust now. That could be very important into the Aatrox now. The Herald has spawned. Herald for FPX would get them the feats of strength. An extra kill would get them that too, because they already have that first turret feat of strength marker put in.
For that one, for sure. Cheer, now in the bush. JJ off on a flank angle. Herald started up. Do IG want to play this? Cull did get cashed in by side of Gala, so at least got an item parity option here. The Shy walking on down, looking to be a threat in his own right. GJ with the Excel impact can do a lot of work. Try and find some value here around the Herald. Down to 2k HP. Herald secured, this time by Shadow. Important moment. Looking to drive on forward. The Shy slides out of the full solar flares and he's slow. Shear's gone in. They're trying to turn around onto the Shy while he's got his world under running. Gonna be chunked out as the whirling death comes on through the Shy. Buys a bit of time, but still goes down. Another cash in. The Impale lands onto one. Makes it a 1-for-1. Both top laners fall down.
Herald gone. Frontliners both down for both sides. FPX don't have their big ultimates now, and that means the range increase from FPX, from IG, does give them a little bit more room to maneuver. IG probably still want to fight.
Battle Herald. No, Shadow's just going to let it charge on in. We wonder whether that might come on through. Just going to be allowed to charge. Don't hold on to it. The Grim Visage comes on down. A little bit of a root spot on the lane as the devastating fire gets chunked, but that's about it. The 1-for-1, but the Herald going the way of FPX. Does give them the minor advantage.
Yeah, they get the feats of strength, which is nice for the upgraded boots. Shadow goal has a slight XP advantage over JJ 2. Goes for a fight on the side.
JJ responsible for the Heartsteel proc, chunks him out. Worth noting again, though, that Assume is again the person who gets the kills. This Draven was asked to get kills and does so. Nothing more to be seen there, as it was just a shape change to clone. Reset now for the Draven. He's got a full collector now. Not bad into things like this Aatrox. He can murder as he tries to play around his low HP totals.
Going into a replay of this. Herald was secured. Shadow flashed out from an immediate bit of turnaround CC, and the Shy was trying to like be the counterweight to this, be the pincer, but you know, Sheer misses his ultimate, but he does force IG back, which means that the Shy's left alone. I wonder whether someone just has to face tank the Scion ultimate to allow the rest of the team to walk forwards into the play, but then again, that is the strength of Scion, basically saying, you will have to respect me in that front line. And gave his team enough space to take down the Shy, who once again, with such a big gold advantage, was denied by FPX. They are really focusing on the Shy.
The plan was such a problem. He still kind of is, to be fair. He's exactly in a bad spot this game. They've done a good job of managing him by throwing all of the CC at him, and until he gets a little bit more survivability, he isn't all that tanky unless he's getting to heal through things with his Q and his passive.
Merctress definitely help with that. We'll see once he gets through to Sterak's, which I want him to build second now, actually, he'll get another chunk of tenacity, and maybe that's the turnaround break point that they need. That tenacity really working well against Leona and Lissandra Sheer. Level 11, very much on weak side. Is he going to be forced to die here? Well, maybe. It's a lot of damage coming towards him.
Charged into the wall. Rookie takes the turret aggro. Unstoppable onslaught is interrupted by a flash from GJ. The Crushing Maw drags him back on into the Impale. Probably unnecessary, but they will get the top side turret and they get the kill.
Surprised that Sheer just didn't ult away. That kill was very unnecessary. Again, Sheer, I think, really misjudging the Scion in such an important game. Sheer, a player which, you know, he didn't get to go international last year, didn't get to go to MSI, very nearly died there, by the way. The Collector not too far off of proccing that. And then, of course, at Worlds, lost in that very, very close regional qualifier against Weibo. Very, very close run stuff. Sheer, a player which we've had a lot of conversations about, a lot of praise for regionally, but he's not been able to get beyond that bracket. And here in such an important game, getting gapped by the Shy.
Very much so. Of course, at least in that last play, FPX to get the mid-tier 1, which is pretty valuable here, especially when you are running with things like Lissandra, Lee Sin to set up for a Draven. You overstep in the mid lane. Now, you will die. That's a picture-in-picture of Gala's back being interrupted and nearly dying to a whirling death.
All this is said, you know, the team did get a bunch of cash-ins. Gala's still been farming very well. He's been getting turret plates. He's got both mid lane outer turret. Oh, not the mid lane outer. He got some plates from it. But the mid lane plates and then also top lane turret as well. He's getting a bunch of gold, so even the cashed-in Draven is not that far ahead. And that's typically not a great thing for the Draven. He does want to be so far ahead in terms of items that it makes up for the fact that he doesn't really have a passive.
Not currently. The way forward. Rage Blade done.
Well, you don't have the stacks. I mean, your stacks, your gold lead is your passive. Like, so when you have cashed in, you don't have a passive really. It affects your ultimate, sure, but it's not. You don't have something like the Kai'Sa passive.
I feel that one for sure. I remember when Lysandra had her passive. Just gives you more mana back.
Yeah.
It was her old passive before they changed it to the Iceborne Subjugation.
It's like, wow, you get like a free spell every 15 seconds. Wow, that's great, I guess. But yeah, back when mana management was a thing, it actually was okay. Shadow jumping out of that. And she could have been rammed into the wall. That would have been very dangerous for him. Shadow going towards that Black Cleaver next. Again, was wondering whether he could go for something a bit more bursty, but Black Cleaver in some disguise means he's a little bit more tanky as a front line. Dragon not really up on the radar now. It's 3 minutes until that one spawns. Probably everyone at 2 items by that point.
You get this kind of like, what is it, the 5 minutes of doom or whatever it's called while nothing happens. Atakan is up. Do you actually want to do something about that? No, I think you just want to turn up as 2 pseudo-scorpions and smack some wards. Good for you.
The gold lead is all in top lane. Everything else is even enough. It's all in top lane. The Shy hasn't been able to have a clean fight so far, besides that one pick onto Dre in the mid lane. If FPX don't use their CC onto the Shy, I do think that they lose the fight. Problem is, we're now getting towards a point where if you don't use the CC onto the Kai'Sa, I wonder if the same thing happens. IG, if they present enough carry threats to the side of FPX, their single target burst down pick comp might not be able to deal with all of them.
Very dicey, I agree. Round and about. Great, looking for a potential angle over here. Doesn't take it. Dragon, 130 now. Playing around the Atakan instead. There's our break in the action. Lessness. Started. JJ spots it. They're going to try and find their way.
Oh, JJ!
It was on Vision 2.
Oh, he's just used his ultimate. How much difference is that going to make? Care jumps forwards, force the flash out of Mako. Still has his own flash ult and an exhaust to bring to the fight.
I wonder whether he's trying to drive through the wall or something, but that's awful. Can look to play around the Atakan regardless. Down to 4k HP. Sheer knocked up by the Darkin Blade. From Visage comes on down from Rookie, trying to buy a bit of space. Zone control down to 2000.
It's just gone. It's just gone.
Take it. Doesn't matter using the ult. They just don't claim it. Is that the Frozen Tomb used? Well, no, it's just the Ring of Frost to slow down JJ. Eats some of those shards of ice. Back away. Damage done for Draven, but despite fumbling the ult, they just walk up and take the Atakan.
They do, and you assume uses ult too for a bit of poke. IG, they'll feel completely like that was a gift there. Dwayne now down at half HP after taking some poke. IG, they are a longer range team. They can poke you out like this.
I am officially perplexed. Nice to get some damage done to this tier 1. In goes Shadow. Look, Shadow! Oh, glorious! Absolutely superb. Somewhere out there, Insect, the god of Lee Sin, looks down on his disciple and smiles. Does it matter, though, in the grand scheme of things? Because for all that the play looked fabulous, it's still a 1-for-1. They've lost their jungler. And way, Rookie punishes them all. He gets the Quadra. Somehow, some way. He'll look to potentially get that one remaining member in care, but he's left. He's gone to reset. Can he find the Severing Bolt? A final kill won't come on through, and Rookie punishes the stylish death of his bot lane with a Quadra.
The first kill in the fight is just a shadow on the mind of IG as Rookie uses the Hui, the longest range champion in this play, to just pull FPX down into the ground. The initial play from Shadow is absurd onto Gala. This is great, but they've already taken so much damage. Gala even goes invisible on his E. He has enough attack speed, but he doesn't quite press it in time for Shadow to not get that R click on target. And you can see that Rookie is never threatened here. The work done with the poke before the team fight makes it so much harder for FPX to start getting resets through with the Lysandra passive to genuinely carry the fight. And the Shy getting the triple Q afterwards confirms their death.
Yeah, gets away because, you know, Rookie was thinking, well, I could look for the Penta here. Can't quite do it, but this way now, very strong.
I've just said, like, the Severing Bolt is long range, is not a semi-global. Well out of range, Care's like, I'm not giving that over. Not in a game 5. Surely not in a game 5, but Quadra kill for Rookie, potentially to save IG's playoffs run. Now, if they go any further after this point, up against Weibo next, which, let's be honest, they've had a great upper ceiling versus JDG. Awesome to see that. They also have a horrid floor as well. I'm sure that IG will be looking at that series and go, you know what, based on the opponents we could have had, we'll absolutely take that.
Game now remains in a very interesting spot. IG have gotten themselves a significant gold lead in some great spots. Look at Quay, look at the Aatrox. The Sterex is now done. You've got the arm guard as well for rookies, getting a lot harder to manage.
And the Seraphs. It's so hard to get through the HP of the Andrews and the Seraphs. I think FPX's comp has fallen off. They needed to get ahead. They needed that burst combo to get them obscenely far ahead. I don't think they have the damage now.
3 items on the Draven, but Assume is in mid lane clearing the wave, knows that he can't get involved with this fight. He's just not altering, he's taking cannons in mid lane! All of your gold is not there and they lose the Leona.
Shear's now caught out too, has Flash, has ult, but you're right, Assume, you are the gold lead. You are the gold bank, the little piggy bank to get them a little more into this game. You can't afford to be just taking minions on mid wave.
Get why, maybe just saying, look, I can't get involved in this fight, but now Assume has to back away, puts out a Blood Rush, attacks the Shape Changer clone, and Shadow gets over the wall. Had a few flashy moments here, quite literally on the Lee Sin, but it hasn't snowballed the game out of reach.
Okay, has gone towards the Proto Belt second item, by the way, to get a little bit closer into range. Malignant's Proto Belt, very rarely see that combo on any champion, actually. What it does mean is that Karam doesn't exactly have that much gold, does it? Much damage, does it? It's a lot of utility, not actual much stick it in the craw. IG, they have magic resist, they have HP, and I'm really worried that FPX are not going to be able to kill that, even the first target now.
Very tricky. Gotten 2 items on a couple important people, but I think my worry is, especially, like, we saw Shadow get that incredible kick onto Gala, and the rest of the team took so much AoE, they died anyway. You've got a 3rd item on Gala now as well. He's picked up the Terminus. He's not getting all that much easier to kill anytime soon. And you are running into the issue, like, congratulations, you've killed 1 target. What now? How do you then deal with the Aatrox that survived, or the Quay that survived, or the Gala on the Kai'Sa that survived? You can kill 1, but what about the other 2? Is Care has overstepped, and the Shy finds the Infernal Chains. We'll try and find the Frozen Path to the world, and it comes on through. Traded out with the Frozen Tomb. Ends up being ult for ult.
I suppose it's low ult cooldown for Care, but see how little damage it is due to this Aatrox now. Has enough tenacity with Merctrez and the Starks, which we did call out. I think it's an intelligent build from the Shy. And real credit to the Shy. This guy has absolutely made Sheer a non-factor and has been a huge threat for FPX, which they must throw CC at. And now you're at the break point where even if FPX throw all their CC at you, I don't think they can crowd control you for long enough with the tenacity, and I don't think they get through the Stark shield either. Baron now started up, and FPX, Baron steal or bust?
Feels that way, doesn't it? Baron started. Where is Shadows on the Lee Sin? It can be hard to secure against the Lee Sin with the execute damage on the Q2 on that resonating strike alongside a smite. Notorious for smite stealing. Fight nice, pull back with the crushing maw. Care loses half his HP. The burn's still going to come on through. Shadow looking for a flank angle here. Has got behind, spots out the Shy now. Full dash forwards. Rookie also speeding himself with the fleeting current. Severing Bolt comes on through, lands a bit of a slow. Gala also looking, lands the W. Shadow now in danger, will ward off away. Flash over from Mako, and Shadow is a shadow of his former self.
FPX try and play the smoke and mirrors, but IG realized they don't have to stay on the Baron. They just randomly find him on Vision, sure, but they didn't leave themselves at risk of the Baron still. They take down the jungler, and IG, I think this is the play which really breaks the game well and truly. With the Baron buff, I don't see how FPX can come back in this game now. They don't have the damage. The Dragon in 30 seconds, it wouldn't be sold for them either. If that were the case, maybe that would be a win condition. IG, I think they've managed to clutch out this game 5 just closely enough with that bottom half, that bottom map play around the Atakan to just about survive in playoffs.
Draven's at 3.5 items. You got 100 adoration stacks. Maybe it has to just be a monster Draven fight. I just don't know how easy that's going to be. Shadow, I understand why he was looking for flank. I really do. I think he's feeling the desperation too, and that might have been your only way back in. Wasn't fortunate enough to run into the Shy. Soul point about to be picked up by IG. Shadow is nowhere near around, so the Dragon is IG's. No contest, really. FPX in their own jungle, though. The plan now, kind of going to be zoned off this mid lane wave. As Shadow may need to fast gun out to safety, and will do so.
FPX they need a miracle at this point. They need someone to overstep. They need people to not respond well to engages. And Dwayne instead, he's the one that's caught, forced the flash.
Well, hands 1 and 2 are put together, and they're looking to a higher power. And unfortunately, Victor's Gaming are looking to drag them right back down to reality. Solari's #1 champion left looking remarkably dull today. No light to be found at the end of this tunnel, except the freight train that just clocked them over the head.
Mako even steals the big raptor as well with one last Q over the wall. With the Baron buff, with Dway down, I think this is going to be inhibitor broken. The Shy preparing a bottom wave as well.
Baron still on for another minute and a half. Shadow on a potential flank angle will need this to be valuable. JJ's going to zone him off, spotted out by that Oracle's lens. Rookie and Gala off to the other side. The Shy splitting up massive damage onto Care, who eats just occasional skill shots and loses most of his HP bar. The Shy has gone low, I guess trading out with one of his opposition numbers, but does take the turret nonetheless.
And he gets the recall, uses teleports anyway. He'll have 3 items by this point, and he does. Death's Dance, one of the best items in the game. Shadow looking for a play.
He goes golden, Pop Blossom comes on through, driven into the wall, and the Zhonya's prevents the flank angle from turning into anything but the death of the Lee Sin, the blind monk. Gone still. Root just wide on Assume. He's got no mana though, looking very shy on that one. Can't Blood Rush, can't throw too many spinning axes out right now with that mana pool. And the inhibitor falls in short order.
Failed play by Shadow. Tried to look for that Insect onto Rookie. Too quick with his fingers, though. He played against Insect back in 2014. He was on the same organization, KT Rolster. Rookie knows that trick. And he goes golden to save his life. IG looking to break down the second inhibitor.
He's played against a few legends. FPX, some of these players might become them one day, but today it feels like there isn't enough magic in the tank, and the Phoenixes. The cycle may be beginning anew, back to ashes, potentially. Care on the flank angle needs the mother of all ults, and it's just not happening.
They just can't find the positioning in the right time. Trying to do it in a 4v5 is even harder, right? Sheer was already down. 2 inhibitors down, and IG. This series has not been a pleasant one for their fans, I would imagine. This is still a very close series in which they could have lost it. It was realistic that they could have been felled by FPX here. Now they're over 11,000, over 10,000 gold ahead, nearing on 11,000. And FPX, their timer has run out on their composition. IG will just about see themselves to safety.
That was nearly a 7k Baron power play. Ow! That is a lot of gold that's gone Invictus Gaming's way. They are now up 10,000 gold over it. 4 items done for the Kai'Sa. Does feel like at this point the FPX are pretty much out of options. Infinity Edge at least done for Assume. The only member within touching distance, and even he's 600 gold behind.
Now, I see him on the Draven, got a couple of cash-ins, but has not been able to determine the fate of this game. He's just been stuck, failing to auto-attack, not able to combo in. This game had to be about Shadow and Assume getting a ton of damage onto the CC target in front of them, and it's just simply not been that easy. In fact, the best player of the game wasn't even the Lee Sin getting set up. It was Make doing his own stunts. Even that led to them getting quadra-killed. IG, a victory lap, really, heading in towards the bot side.
JJ hit by the Sonic Wave. At this point, I don't think he gives a damn. Very scary on this Skarner, can walk up with impunity. The Shy shoving the wave in mid lane, looking to collapse in here. As Shadow on a flank angle will safeguard in, double knockup. Shadow hit by that Infernal Chain will once again safeguard. Solarfell well wide, final inhibitor turret under siege. Sheer just loses all of his health bar as Q comes on through from Arlo's Acathian Rain. It just does 2/3 of his HP bar at this point.
Super minions holding FPX back on the other lanes as well. This will be the 3rd inhibitor turret going down. They don't need an inhibitor turret for this one. Sheer looking for one last engage. Instead goes into the turret, cancelling it.
Gala does get chunked pretty low there. Doesn't die though, importantly. Has got the G8 to the Shadow into the background onto Rookie. Does nothing at all. Gets a kick of the wall, misses the Sonic Wave as Mako goes into the Shape Changer. Shadow dies in the 1v3 as the rest of the base falls apart. Alas, gasp, my last desperate attempt ends only in failure.
I don't even know if they'll need to take that 3rd inhibitor with Shadow down. I suppose they do. There's 4 other members of FPX up and available. FPX, it has been a split which I think they exceeded some expectations, bringing in Shadow, but they have not managed to exceed IG today.
Not in the slightest. Not today in Game 5. Mako goes looking for a rocket belt and the Tangle Barbs. Care tries to find the time and space. Something, anything at all goes to be a bit invincible as there is a cash-in. In comes the Impale though to turn it all around as Kai'Sa gets 2. Can look for potentially more as Assume desperately trying to hold on 5-1. The only man with a positive scoreline desperately trying to hold the line. The game doesn't end somehow, some way, but you know what is up? The Infernal Dragon and Infernal Soul. It's a moment, a reprieve, but certainly not an abstention of the sentence that's been handed down.
That's the first Hurricane Draven I've ever seen in my life. To see him using that cash-in and the shutdown to get himself to a full build Draven. Sadly though, yeah, don't think it's going to make the difference. IG get themselves the Infernal Soul, so all of those individual members doing so well for IG going to have an extra bang for their buck.
I mean, if the Hurricane wins in this game from this position.
He also just got the upgraded Berserker Greaves as well. I mean, it's as strong as a Draven's ever going to get. The extra feats of strength on top of it helps him with the wave clear against the multiple super minions. Of course, doesn't get the Whirling Axe damage onto all of them. But he does get the extra regular auto attack damage, which is pretty high with all these items. Baron started up. FPX, do they even bother looking to steal? I don't think they even can they?
You've got to pull. A hodl. Get in there and hold the door. Hold door.
So what's happening right now is Shadow's sitting in this top lane brush, which the observer's going over towards. Sat under control, just hoping to find that one miracle kick angle. Maybe you can get it onto Rookie. He didn't have the full zone, it's just the Seekers. That's probably the easiest target to go towards now. If someone randomly walks up towards topside, that's the place where you can strike.
I refer you all to Meteor's 60-minute game-winning kick. Many years ago at World, it took him 60 minutes to find the one that mattered, and when he did, it won the game. I have to do it a few times this game with Shadow to come back into this one.
He'll sit here for as long as he wants, folks. He will sit here for as long as he can. Like, at this point, doesn't matter the damage he does. He just wants to be able to... I mean, I guess they're not turning up towards that top side of the map. He'll probably walk over vision now is the problem, and indeed he does. Doesn't have a sweeper because he's Lee Sin and wants the ward. They might run into him in the jungle.
Hunting for him.
W go cross, they'll not quite see him there. Shite leading the way.
Safeguards out to safety. And again, it's so hard. There's vision everywhere. Shadow trying to thread the needle, but as blind as his character right now, no idea where he can walk safely to tread a path into a flank for Shy. And the inhibitor respawn already taking it low. He's pretty damn strong. He's got a voltaic Cyclo sword at this point.
The extra slow, the extra damage, the lethality, none of that goes amiss. Assume, I mean, how much carrying can you do? Not enough. Shadow caught out. Gala will take down the jungler, and the flanks have not worked for Shadow.
They really haven't. I know why he's looking for them. They look awkward because they are. That's what you're reduced to. Assume with a hurricane and a dream, must find something. Elixir of Wrath, this Draven. The final Bastion Gala is going to be frozen up. He's got a GA to work with. The Wally that comes on through. Assume trading up with the Shy, though, flashes away. They brought down one into the GA at the very least, but wait! Rookie brings down the spiraling despair. They are painted into absolute agony. Invictus Gaming, it is taken to 5, and FPX. Oh, FPX. They can't take it that final mile. The miracle dies here.
Invictus Gaming